Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning and a happy Monday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, streaming us up online at sportstalk1051.com, WAYYradio.com, or checking out the video stream on YouTube. You also got the app. Download that. Take it on the go. And your smart devices, smart speakers like your Alexa devices. We appreciate however you're tuning in and wherever you're tuning in from. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning as we start to get things rocking and a-rolling? Brewers doing a little bit more cleaning. They sweep the Rockies this past weekend, taking all three games, although on Friday it looked like it wasn't going to be the case. The Brewers' offense struggling to get any sort of hitting going until at the end. And if you just looked at the box scores and that, you'd be like, what are you talking about? 9-7, went to final, went to extra innings. Well, what are you talking about? It was 2-1 heading into the top of the ninth. Brewers putting up 4, Rockies putting up 2 to force extras. Brewers putting up 4 more in the 10th. Rockies cut it close, adding a couple, but Brewers getting a 9-7 victory on Friday night. And then in Saturday night's contest with Jacob Mizorowski, the Miz kid on the mound, Brewers picking up a 7-1 victory. Mizorowski picking up his 7th win of the season to improve to 7-2, 1.50 ERA. And then yesterday, again, a little bit of a slower start. Brewers playing from behind after the Rockies able to put up 2 in the first inning. Brewers cut it in half. Well, Rockies add a little bit more insurance in the 5th, and then the 6th. 7 runs. The Brewers explode for 7 runs, and then add 4 more in the 9th to pick up a 12-4 victory. Brewers picking up their 40th win on the season. Fastest in club history to reach that 40-win mark. Fastest in club history. Not bad. And not only that, not only are the Brewers now 40-23 on the season, we are officially under 100 games left of this regular season. Brewers 40-23, that's 63 games in this season. Basic math tells us what? We got 99 left to go. So we are officially we are officially in double digits for games left on this season. Road trip continues here for the Brew Crew as they move a little further west. They're going to be taking on the Athletics. Going to be some late games for the next couple nights here. 9:05 first pitch for the Brewers as they begin this 3-game series against the Athletics. But we open up another week here when you take a look at where things currently stand here for the Crew after this really good weekend, fantastic weekend for the Brewers. 5 games ahead of the Cardinals, who are in second place. 7.5 games ahead of both Pittsburgh and the Cubbies, and the Reds losing 4 in a row. 9.5 back. The Reds are under 500. We actually have an NL Central team that's under 500. So lots of Brewers chat, lots of baseball chat coming your way here this morning. We'll talk a little, talk some Mizorowski too, because maybe a big moment or another stepping stone moment in his career on Saturday that I want to touch on and such and hit up here too. So we'll chat a little Miz, recapping this past weekend and looking ahead to this 3-game series against the Athletics, where the Athletics right now are in third place in the AL West, 3 games under 500. 500. What else do we have on the docket here this morning? We'll chat a little hoops with a little bit of a Giannis update as we approach maybe that soft deadline, what the NBA draft almost just 2 weeks away, 2 weeks and change away, if that is, in fact, the deadline there, which makes all the sense in the world. Got a little bit of a Giannis update. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority still talking about the Heat. But maybe Giannis has some concerns about the Heat. That's the latest rumblings out there regarding a potential Giannis deal to the Heat. Now, could that be legit? Sure. Could it be fabricated by maybe a team that wants to acquire Giannis? Sure. Could it be nothing? Yep. Could it be everything? Of course. Who the heck knows? Not really. I mean, just a handful of people really know the full answer. So, but we'll get you the latest and greatest surrounding Giannis and whether he stays or whether he will be going. We'll continue our top 250 countdown. A little bit later, we'll do that probably next hour. So we'll hit that up as we continue our top 250 moments, players, games, teams, coaches, in American sports history. So we'll continue that countdown as well. We have our VFW Post 305 best and worst of the weekend. So hit me up with your best and worst from the weekend. You can chime in on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick message, 715-830-1912, or you could join in on the Section 105 chat on YouTube. So you can send those on over where Barb's already hanging out with us here this morning. So that's kind of the basis of your game plan. First of all, best of luck to any local golfers that are going to be teeing off at State this weekend, and congrats to all of our local athletes who participated this past weekend at the State Track and Field Meet in La Crosse. So I know the Express, they split over the weekend too, but they continued their road trip. 2 more games. Got Wilmer today and tomorrow before returning home on Wednesday for a 2-game series against the Badlands Big Sticks, and then they get an off day on Friday, a much-deserved off day too. So, but all right, that's kind of your game plan here for us this morning. Let's pitter-patter. Let's get at her, shall we? We'll open it up, talking a little Brew Crew, talking a little baseball here this morning. Brewers reaching 40 wins, the fastest in their franchise history to hit that 40-win mark. 40-23 on a season, 17 games above 500. Your Milwaukee Brewers at this point, we are officially under 100 games left to go. We are at the 99 mark for this regular season. Let's recap this past weekend and look ahead to this 3-game series against the Athletics. And I want to talk a little Jacob Mizorowski on this thing too. So let's get things going here this morning. We'll take our first break, and then the leadoff coming up after these few words. Dings, dents, or something more serious, don't stress about it. Just head to Superior Auto Body. From minor touch-ups to major collision repair, they are your go-to team for getting your vehicle back to looking like new. With experienced technicians and attention to every detail, Superior Auto Body takes pride in doing the job right the first time. So when life happens to your vehicle, trust the team that Eau Claire drivers rely on. Superior Auto Body, your go-to place for all of your auto body needs. Superior Auto Body, our official Backyard Dreams partners. All right, as we said in the opener, we're going to open up a little thing. We're going to open up things on the leadoff, talking some Brew Crew. Brewers picking up a series sweep against the Colorado Rockies this past week. And a quick look back at the last 3 games here for the Brewers, going back to Friday night's game, which maybe it kind of looked like it wasn't going to be in the cards for the Brewers. Just couldn't really get a whole lot going from the offensive side of things for the Brewers. If you didn't watch the game, if you weren't following along and you were just box score scouting the whole thing, you'd be like, what the heck are you talking about? It was 2-1 heading into the final inning, and then Brewers putting up 4. They only had like a couple of hits. Brewers putting up 4 in the ninth to take the lead, but the Rockies climbed back, tied it up, forced extra innings. Brewers putting up another 4 spot in the 10th. Rockies chipped away, added a couple, but it wasn't enough. After all that, it was a 9-7 victory. Didn't need to watch the first few innings of that game. But Brandon Sproat got the start. He went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, couple Ks, home run, couple walks on there too. Craig Yoho, as we were talking about him at the end of last week too, and he did get called up. He went 2 innings, striking out 3, did give up a couple of walks, but he had to come in with Fitzpatrick. Yeah, scary situation if you kind of seen the highlights, or maybe you're watching or you're listening, but getting hurt on a warm-up pitch and kind of the elbow. So latest reports is deciding whether he's going to have Tommy John surgery or rehab. The rehab is not off the table, but I mean, when you throw a warm-up pitch and your elbow just kind of goes, and you could tell he was in immense pain and such and had to leave. But scary situation for Fitzpatrick. So another injury to that Brewers bullpen too. But Ashby comes in and locks it down for the Crew. So to begin the series, where it looked like they were going to struggle with some hits in Colorado of all places too, but then they got things going there late in the ball game to pick up a Game 1 victory. And then Saturday nights with Jacob Mizorowski on the mound for the Brew Crew, just kind of doing his thing. This is what we should probably expect from Jacob Mizorowski going forward. 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 8 Ks for the Miz kid. Getting some early run supports. Brewers putting up a run in each of the first 2 innings, and then putting up those insurance runs late in the ball game. 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 13 total hits for the Brewers. That included, from Mr. Bryce Terang, a couple of dingers too. Jake Bauers also getting in the home run Jason Hamilton too. So but getting plenty of enough run support and a solid pitching performance from Jacob Mizorowski. And coming in or towards the end of that outing by Jacob Mizorowski too, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it or heard about it, seen some of the comments. But you know, in that situation in the 7th, he had 2 on, 1 out. Wondering if Mizorowski going to get pulled in that situation. Miz looks towards the dugout to Pat Murphy, saying, no, I don't want to come out. Telling Contreras, nope, don't want to come out. Leave me in. I got this. And what does Mizorowski do? Goes out there and strikes out the final 2 batters. And Pat Murphy talked a little bit about that after the game and talked about it from, you know, another example of Mizorowski really maturing. And talked about that's been one of his biggest improvements so far this year has been Jacob Mizorowski just maturing from last year. In a moment like that, and you see the trust between the manager and the pitcher, and obviously Contreras and at the catching spot too being involved in that. But we've talked about it a lot with Pat Murphy and his players, and how he empowers his players, how he gives his players a chance. We talked about it a lot with Bryce Terang and other players, giving them a chance to maybe either bounce back or, in big moments and such, and not to maybe over blow it out proportion or something like that, but to kind of see that confidence and to see that maturity level from Jacob Mizorowski. And he kind of talked about it after the game too. It wasn't this, he decided to just blow the baseball by those hitters with his fastball. He said, I just pitched. Just went out there and pitched, mixing it up a little bit. So not just relying on his powerful fastball to get by those hitters. So maybe another step, another notch, another level for Jacob Mizorowski in his very young career, to be able to say, I understand the situation. And he kind of talked about it too, where he understood the bullpen situation, the injuries, kind of a little banged up, used a lot. He understood how important it was for him to finish that inning, a high leverage inning, to kind of help out that bullpen afterwards too. And he got it done. And that's what you want to see from your aces, to say, no, I got this. All right, leave me in. I got this. And not only to say that, but then to execute it and get the job done. Get it done. Get out of that inning. Taking the team on your back, if you will. That was a cool moment. That was a really cool moment for Jacob Mizorowski. It just adds on another thing of maybe just this vast improvement from him from last year. And maybe I shouldn't say vast, because it makes it sound like he was kind of awful last year, but just, I think it goes to maybe that consistency part from him, where that to me has been the biggest thing, is just we're seeing another start now from Mizorowski, where he's going out there and he's just putting together back-to-back games, back-to-back games of some awesome, insane play. I mean, you go back to May 1st. May 1st, he has given up just one earned run in 7 games. 7 games started. One earned run. And you look at his last 7 games, you're looking at 5 1/3, 6, 7, 6, 7, 7, 7. 3 games in a row now where he has gone 7 innings in each game. And the pitch count, he hasn't even eclipsed since April 7th. Hasn't even eclipsed 100 innings, 100 pitches. So even though he's been going these 7 innings, he hasn't reached 100 pitches. In fact, with 98 against Colorado, the game before against Houston in those 7 innings, he only threw 88 pitches. And the game that he did throw over 100 was that Boston game, and he went 5 1/3. So not only is he giving this team some length, but the pitch counts, keeping them relatively low by today's standards. So another just solid night for Jacob Mizorowski. And then yesterday in the series finale, Brewers, again, maybe kind of starting a little bit slow. Rockies, they should have known better. They got to put up some bigger offensive numbers when you go up against this vaunted offensive team of the Milwaukee Brewers. 6th inning, after Rockies make a change in pitching. First pitch, Gary Sanchez, home run. And that just got Brewers take the lead. They put up a big old crooked number in the top of the sixth with those 7 runs, and they add 4 more in the ninth. 17 total hits for the Brewers yesterday. 17 total hits on 12 runs, and the only home run came from Sanchez. I mean, Vaughn getting a triple. Rengifo getting in on some hits, picking up a double early on in the game. You had Jackson Cherio with 3 hits. Contreras with a couple. Vaughn with 3. Sanchez with a couple. Mitchell had 3. Every person that started the game collected a hit, and that included Mr. Joey Ortiz, too. So get the brooms out and doing a little sweeping in the Colorado Rockies, getting it done. Great weekend. Fantastic weekend. Yes, it's an inferior opponent in the Rockies, but the Brewers did exactly what they were supposed to do. Not play down to the competition. Go out there and do your thing. Take care of your business. And that's exactly what they did. Great weekend. And let's do it again as they move a little bit further southwest to Vegas. And they'll be taking on the Athletics. Let's preview that series, shall we? We'll take a quick break and then take a look at this 3-game series with the Athletics. And not to look too far ahead, but a fun weekend series coming up here for the Brewers when they return home to take on the Phillies, in which, when, again, looking a little bit ahead, I understand that, but starting this weekend begins a big stretch of games for the Brew Crew as they will start to turn the page on the month, and man, maybe a chance to make another statement here too. But let's talk some athletics and preview it tonight's game, shall we? We'll take a quick break and be right back in just a few minutes. Get your team signed up right now for the 6th annual Kasper Classic to help benefit Backyard Dreams. August, we are officially under the 2-month mark. So get going. Head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, WAYYradio.com to sign up your 2-person team for $90, just $90. I mean, come on, that you can be hard pressed to find a better deal to just go golfing for that. For a 2-person team, $90. That includes your 9 holes. That includes your meal, your carts, some drink tickets too from our friends at Park Ridge Distributing. So 10 a.m.'s sold out, but we've got plenty of spots here for 1 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. But I can tell you, the closer we get, those are going to fill up because we have sold out every single year. So who will win the title belt this year? Who's going to win? I might have. I gotta talk to my advisory committee on this one, but we might have another thing to give away along with the title belts too. So just gonna throw that potential out there, but I got an idea. I got a little bit of an idea I might throw out there. So, but get your 2-person team signed up now before it's too late. And if you are interested in maybe partnering, sponsoring a hole, or donating a raffle prize, especially if you're interested or willing to donate a raffle prize, please reach out, because 100% of those proceeds go to help fund our Backyard Dreams promotion. So, all right, let's talk some more Brewers here as we continue in the first hour of the program. Brewers right back at it tonight, taking on the Athletics. It's going to take me, I'm probably over under 1.5 times that I'm going to say the Oakland Athletics, I'm going to take the over. So forgive me already. I'm just going to throw that out there, that is probably going to happen today and every day in this series. All right, it's gonna. But we get Kyle Harrison on the mound tonight for the Brew Crew, and Kyle Harrison needs no introduction for what he has done so far this season. 7-1 with that 1.57 ERA. And he's looking, I mean, you look at, he's on a 4-game winning streak right now. His latest start coming against the Giants back on the 2nd, where he went 5 2/3, giving up just 1 earned run, striking out 12, going over 100 pitches, 106 pitches in that game. In fact, Kyle Harrison has 2 games where he's thrown over 100 pitches. That's 1 more than Jacob Mizrowski, who we were just talking about. So, but it's kind of like, okay, what else do you got in store here, Kyle Harrison? What else are you going to show us tonight? You got to pick up that 8th win to improve to 8-1 on the season. A little bit of experience with some of the Athletic hitters going up against Harrison. You're talking about like 1 or 2 ABs, so really not a whole lot to come away with. So on the flip side, the Athletics are going to be throwing Jeffrey Springs, the left-hander. So kind of wonder, maybe get a similar lineup to yesterday, a little right-handed heavy lineup. I would expect Vaughn, maybe. If Contreras is catching, would it be another night off for Yelich? We'll see how that goes here. But when you look at Jeffrey Springs and what he has done so far this season, 13 games started. He is 3-6 with a 4.37 ERA. His latest game, going up against the Cubbies back on the 3rd, he only lasted 3 2/3, giving up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and a couple of home runs. But if we look at the month of May, not a great month of May for him either. 0-4 in 5 games started with a 4.23 ERA. Now, to be fair, there were a couple games here where he had quality games, just didn't maybe get that run support. I mean, you're talking about a couple games where 2 earned runs, 1 earned run, and that was a loss against the Giants. He only gave up 1 earned run. Another loss against Seattle, where he gave up a couple earned runs too. So, but in 5 games, he did give up 13 earned runs. And if you want a little bit of a bigger sample size, similar to April, he gave up 15 earned runs, but he was 3-2 with a 4.05 ERA. Opponent's batting average going up against him, so far. Well, he finished the month of May of a 261. Can this Brewers offense stay hot? Can they put up some early run support for Kyle Harrison? Can they go out there and do that? And maybe kind of settle things down. Just give them that confidence out there, too. But I think, you look at Jeffrey Springs, a veteran, 33 years old, been around for a bit. I mean, he began his career with the Rangers, a lot of time all the time in the American League. A couple of years with Texas, Boston, Tampa Bay in there for a few years, and then he's been with the Athletics here for the past couple of seasons. So last year for the Athletics, he was 11-11 with a 4.11 ERA. But and Brewers do have some experience going up against him. Not a ton. Vaughn actually has the most. Vaughn spending some time in the AL. 6 career at-bats. Does have a home run against him. 4 RBIs. 157 average with an 810 OPS. Yelich has 4 career at-bats, and he's a 0 average, 200 OPS. And then Renjifo's 4 career at-bats, a couple RBIs, 500 with a 1.000 OPS. Everybody else has about 1 or 2 ABs against him. So, again, not a ton of experience, but a couple hitters, a little bit more experience going up against Springs this year. So, but I think there's the way this Brewers offense is going right now, I think there is an opportunity for them to jump out and put up a crooked number early on. And if there's one thing that this Brewers team too has shown, there's a lot of things that this Brewers team has shown, but another thing that this team has consistently shown throughout this year has been they could head into the 8th, 9th inning, maybe down, maybe not doing a whole lot on offense, but they could explode any minute, any time. We've seen them go out there and put up big numbers early in games. We've seen them obviously just recently go out there and put up big runs later on in games and come away with W's. You cannot let up. If you're an opponent going up against this Brewers offense, you cannot let up on this team. You can't take it think, okay, we got this in the bag. They haven't done anything offensively all night. We're up. We're good. No, because they come out of nowhere. It's so unpredictable at times when this offense just might put up that weird number, that crazy number. So, it can be a frustrating offense at times to watch, but other times it can be a really fun offense to watch too, just because of the unpredictability that they showcase so many times. Hamilton too, man. I mean, now he's found a little bit of a power stroke here, throwing up some home runs, for crying out loud. David Hamilton's up to 243 this year. May not seem like a lot, but hey, 3 home runs, 667 OPS. I'd take that right now, considering the offensive production that we have been getting so far from that shortstop spot. Sure looks like he's going to be the guy that's going to get, if they go Ortiz, it's Hamilton at third. But I mean, he's setting career highs right now. He's a career 227 hitter, 243 this year. He's a career 295 on base, 331 this year. OPS is a little bit higher. I mean, he's a career 649. He's 667 this year. Ironically, though, his slugging is a little bit down from his career numbers. He's a career 354 slugging, nothing really to write home about, but 336 this year. And he has a positive WAR, win above replacement. 1, but still, you take any positivity that you could kind of come away with. And David Hamilton, I mean, if we want to look back at his last 50 at-bats, last 15 games, he's hitting 280 with an on-base of a 345. Split it in half. His last 25 at-bats, he's hitting 360 with a 448 on base. Maybe kind of prolonging the eventual call-up of a guy like a Cooper Pratt or a Joe Williams. Maybe prolonging that a bit. All right, we got to take a quick break as we'll wrap up the first hour. Brewers, we're at the 99 mark. 99 games left to go. The Brewers, the fastest team. Well, this current Brewers team, the fastest in franchise history to hit the 40-win mark. We'll hit that up. Coming up after these quick words. Father's Day is coming up, so what you getting Dad this year? You want to do something special? You should. Well, what's special? How about hooking Dad up with some new flooring from our good friends at Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire, whether it's for his man cave, his space, or just a space in his home, or maybe his home office, or work, whatever the case may be. All right? Start from the ground up. Nothing looks sharper in Dad's favorite space than some awesome flooring from Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire. Whether it's carpet or tile or some luxury vinyl planks, they got it all. If you're not sure, I don't know what would work the best or what Dad would like or what functions the best or what really would fit in my budget. Is there anything that fits in my budget? Yes, there is. And you know what? The entire team from Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out. Just stop by. All right, stop by today, this week, 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire, and chat with the incredible team, the awesome team at Carpet City Flooring Center, and they will work with you from the starting blocks to the finish line and helping Pops get that brand new flooring for his space. Or maybe you're just looking for some new flooring in general, and it's not necessarily for Father's Day. They got the hookup over there too. So we got the Brewers wrapping up the first hour here. The fastest in franchise history. This team, this 2026 Brewers team, fastest in franchise history to hit the 40-win mark. They are now 40-23, and we only got 99 games left to go, baby. We are double digits. No more triple-digit games left to go. We're at 99, baby, and it's going to go by that, since we're still in the beginning months of June and such. But how are they from a national perspective? If you pay attention to power rankings, again, I look at them just to kind of get a gauge of what maybe the national thought is, and really the top three haven't changed. Number one is the Braves, number two is the Dodgers, and number three is the Brewers. Three National League teams sitting on top of MLB.com's power rankings. What did they say about the Brewers? Says casual fans are constantly asking, how in the world do the Brewers keep winning every year? There are many answers to that question, but honestly, the simplest may be just pointing at Bryce Terang and everything he does on a baseball field. Yeah, I mean, it's Bryce Terang, it's Jacob Misiorowski, it's Contreras, it's Kyle Harrison. Jake Bauers is having a career year. And maybe this is just me being the homer and me being, in Wisconsin as a Brewers fan. But honestly, when you look at a lot of these guys on this team, you got a Jackson Churio who's got superstar potential. You got a Yelich who's a former MVP. You got Bryce Terang, who was on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic as their starting second baseman and has had great years for the last few years. You have Contreras, an all-star catcher. All-star DH2 with the Braves before he got to Milwaukee. Jacob Misiorowski, one of the electric, if not the most electric starting pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. Kyle Harrison's on there too. Trevor McGill's an all-star. It's not like the Brewers don't have dudes and they're playing, above their expectations. Maybe they're still playing a little bit above expectations, but they got good players. And sometimes when you see these narratives or these lines how do the Brewers keep winning every year? It's not like they just have awful players or random players. It's not like the movie Major League where they're just acquiring these dudes and they're playing way above expectations. They got good players. They've got really good players. And maybe it's just time for some national peeps to recognize that. That when you look at that lineup and you look at that roster, yeah, dang, when you really kind of break it down, they do have some good players. They got Gold Glovers with Terang and Frelick. Good pitching across the board. Just acknowledge it. Man, they got good players. They may not be the most expensive players in the world, Dodgers, Yankees, etc., etc. But talent-wise, when you look at that roster, and you compare that roster to a lot of other rosters of some of baseball's best, guarantee you a lot of those teams would be like, yeah, would love to have that guy on our team. You telling me a lot of teams, a lot of top teams wouldn't love a Bryce Terang or a Contreras or a Jackson Chourio or Jacob Mizorowski? No. Brewers have good players. It's okay for other fans to acknowledge that, to admit that. They do. Proof's there. Facts are facts. And if you want the Brewers to get that recognition, to maybe get a little bit of that praise or whatever you want to call it, well then go vote for them on the All-Star ballot. Go do that. Was reading too over the weekend. MLB.com had a piece, one trade chip for every team ahead of the 2026 deadline, because this is going to be talked more and more about as if the Brewers continue to win. What are some of the needs? What do they need to go out there? What do they need to do to maybe push the chips in? Adam McCulvey from Brewers.com picked Luis Lara, the outfielder that we've talked about at AAA that has been having a solid season and such. And he had to say, if the Brewers want to add an impact pitcher or hitter to make another run for a postseason spot, they may have to deal a premium player from MLB Pipeline's top-ranked farm system. They don't want to trade baseball's top overall prospect, Jesus Mate, and club number 2 prospect, Luis Pena, might have too many red flags from some recent health scares. Number 4, Cooper Pratt just inked an 8-year contract in April, so he's not moving. And number 3, Jet Williams is so well fitted to the Brewers because of his positional versatility that it's hard to envision the team dealing him away less than a year after getting him from the Mets. So how about Lara? Brewers number 5 prospect, number 91 overall, who is in the midst of a breakout season at AAA and plays a position outfield at which the Brewers are well stocked with young talent. Maybe that's the route they go. And whether that's to bring in another starter, to bring in a bat for the left side of the infield, maybe that's the name to kind of watch here. And, you kind of look at outfield, and, I think, you got Garrett Mitchell, you got Jackson Chourio, you've got Sal Free looking at it. And if Jet Williams, they do decide to keep him, you talk about that position versatility, outfield, third base, infield. He brings that too. So maybe Luis Lara is that guy. What's it worth? What could the Brewers get in return for somebody like that? All right, we only got a couple minutes left at the top of the hour. So to kick off at next hour, we'll get you the latest rumors surrounding Giannis and the Bucks, as we are inching closer and closer to that soft kind of deadline that's out there with the NBA draft. Just 2 weeks and change to go here. So we'll kick off that. And then we'll continue our top 250 countdown, 250 moments in American sports. We've got 50 down and 200 more to go. And we're going to knock off 10 more coming up in the next hour. It is also a VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. So what's your best? What's your worst? Hit us up. Hit me up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line or in the Section 105 chat. New Monday segment coming your way. We'll probably do this in the 8 o'clock hour. MMCGPT. Monday morning Chat GPT. We are asking the AI overlords, robots, right? We're all Monday morning quarterbacks, especially during the football season. But we're going to have a little fun with Monday morning quarterback and put it to the test from the computers. And one of them I want to throw in there is Pat Murphy keeping Jacob Mizorowski. So I put in everything. I put in the whole situation. 2 on, 1 out, pitch count, inning, spots in the lineup coming in. Did Pat Murphy make the same decision as our Monday morning chat GPT said? We're going to have a little fun with this. I can't wait to get this going under the football season and everybody's Matt LaFleur Monday morning quarterbacking and such. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut us off. We got news updates. Second quarter kicking off in just a couple minutes. All right, second hour kicking off right now on this Monday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start on this June 8th. Again, hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week. Well, first hour we talked all baseball, all Brewers, a fantastic weekend for the Brew Crew, sweeping the Colorado Rockies, and Brewers going to be right back at it tonight, moving a little bit southwest as they'll be taking on the Athletics for a 3-game series. And it's going to be some late games. All right, you're going to have to stay up late. 9:05 first pitch for tonight. Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Crew. So coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk coming up a little bit later on. But I want to continue our top 250 countdown coming up here in just a little bit as we continue to count down the top 250 moments in American sports. We've already knocked off 50. But we got 10 more coming your way here in just a little bit. Let's kick off this hour with an update on Giannis. Well, first of all, reports say, Oklahoma City, not in it, not interested. That's one of the reports out there, which probably isn't a big surprise for everybody. But the team that has been constantly mentioned as the odds-on favorite to acquire Giannis, the Miami Heat. We got a little bit of an update on this thing. So this is according to The Athletic, Sam Amick from The Athletic, who said, quote, "The noise is tied to Miami, but there is also some intel, discussion, kind of understanding that Giannis has questions about what that Miami roster would look like on the other side of a deal. You don't want to gut your roster and go to a place you're excited to be in and then have a hard time contending for a championship." And that's one of the biggest problems with something like this is, all right, Giannis, and maybe this isn't something that Giannis wants to do, but maybe it's an ownership thing. Who knows? We've gone back and forth in that. But here's the problem. For a lot of these teams that would love to bring in the Greek freak Giannis, if you've got to essentially give up your entire roster and bring him in, do you have anything left to surround him to give him that help? Or is he in another situation kind of similar to what Milwaukee is? What is a better situation to just win now? Let's take away, whether it's Giannis that wants out or whether ownership wants to move on from him. Let's just take that away, okay? Would Giannis just be in a better spot to contend if he stayed with the Bucks and maybe the Bucks making a couple moves, or going to Miami where that roster could be depleted because they got to try to acquire him? Now, if he were to go to Miami, it could potentially be Bam Adebayo. You throw in a little Andrew Wiggins, maybe Norman Powell. But is that a roster that instantly would go up and compete with the likes of Boston, the Knicks, Cleveland? I mean, is that a top-tier Eastern Conference roster? But the other part, too, is, all right, how much do you trust Pat Riley in that front office to get the guys that he may need to go out there and surround it? Like, what kind of players would you be able to go out there and get, though? But this shouldn't be a surprise for Giannis that for a lot of teams that he could be traded to, the roster may not be that great. You look at Boston potentially. Okay, if he goes to Boston, okay, then he gets to pair up with Jason Tatum. Great. You got those teams that maybe have a little bit of depth, have some other pieces. And it's not to say like Bam Adebayo is a bad player. He's not. He's a really good player. And last year he averaged 20.1 points per game and 10 rebounds. But it's Bam and Giannis, the duo that can lead Miami back to a championship? And that's the reality that's going to happen here. If Giannis gets traded, again, depending on a handful of teams, a select few teams out there, the roster may not look the greatest, at least initially. But Giannis is also at the age, too, where he's not the youngest cat in the litter. Right? I mean, we've seen some injuries kind of starting to pile up here for the Greek Freak. He's going to be 32 in December. He was born in 94. So, but that's kind of the latest, one of the latest rumors, updates, rumblings surrounding the Greek freak and Giannis and the everlasting soap opera drama of will he stay or will he go? That daily Giannis O-meter, I'm still at about, I'm probably now maybe at 6.3 that he goes, that he ends up getting traded. But honestly, I wouldn't be, I'm really at the point, I wouldn't be surprised one way or the other. If he stays, I wouldn't be surprised. If he goes, I'm not surprised. The thing that will upset me the most, though, is that if he gets traded and it's after the draft, and none of those draft picks from this year are on the team this year. Is it possible that he gets traded after the draft and to whatever team he gets traded to, they send their picks from this year over? Yep, it's very possible. But then you're kind of relying on that team who drafted those players to hit on those picks. But maybe that's the best thing, though, for the Bucks, too, because let's be real, John Horst and that Bucks team, they haven't really drafted the best over the years. I get it. It's been late first-rounders or just second-rounders. They haven't had lottery picks in that, but still, the draft selections have not been the greatest, have not really worked out. So maybe it's best for maybe letting another team go out there and draft your players. I don't know, but NBA Finals, the Knicks taking a 2-0 lead, going down to San Antonio and picking up the 2 wins. Could they take a commanding 3-0 lead as the series moves back to New York, or moves to New York? I shouldn't say back because we haven't gotten the series to New York yet. Game 3 tonight, I call this crucial for the Spurs. You're down 2-0. This is an incredibly crucial game. I am, not a Knicks fan, and I picked the Spurs, and I was kind of hoping the Spurs would win. I'm really curious to see the environment at Madison Square Garden, though, because I think it's going to be off the rails. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hopping. How does a young Spurs team go into that environment and maybe kind of take some of those punches right away? Take that environment, not let it rattle them, not let it get to them. I think that's going to be the biggest key in this thing for the Spurs in a very crucial Game 3. And going into an incredibly hostile environment, and probably for a lot of those Spurs players, an environment that they have never experienced before, and maybe never will after this. How do you go in there, play spoiler? How do you go in there, not let the noise rattle you? If you get behind early, how do you not let it get to you? To where you just kind of keep digging it's like quicksand. And you get so far down, so far below the surface, you can't get out anymore. You're going to have to take some punches. But can you still be the one standing at the end? Can you lay or land some more of those punches towards the end and get that Game 3 victory? It's a crucial game for the Spurs tonight. Very crucial. Stanley Cup. Then we got the Stanley Cup that's going on here too, and Vegas leading this series 2-1. We got Game 4 coming your way tomorrow. But that one's been a good one too. I mean, Game 1, Vegas gets a 5-4 victory, 4-3 victory for the Hurricanes. Then 5-4 double overtime victory for the Golden Knights. Heck yeah, the Stanley Cup final has been awesome to watch and kind of follow along with. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll pick up our 250 countdown. 10 more names, games, plays, teams We're going to be checked off the list. Who's next? We'll go through it coming up after these few words. Hey, whether you're chasing a championship or you're just trying to stay active, your body deserves the best care. And at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, they help athletes and non-athletes alike get back to doing what they love. From sports injuries and joint pain to everyday aches, their expert team is here with personalized care every single step of the way. So no matter your level of activity, you do not have to sit on the sidelines. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better, to feel better, and to live better. All right. Let's continue our top 250 countdown with America's birthday. Coming up next month, we are counting down the top 250 players, coaches, moments, games, teams, plays. You can't define the history of American sports without these 250 items. We have knocked out 50. We've got 200 more to go. But after this next group of 10, we'll be in the hundreds, baby. So we've touched on teams. We've touched on leagues, coaches, players, plays. All right? Now we're kind of going to be mixing it up. We're going to add a few players. We're going to add a few coaches. There's really no rhyme or rhythm now that we move forward. And again, these aren't ranked. So like the ones that I've already said doesn't necessarily mean that I think is like, okay, that's the number one, of this 250 list, that's the number one thing. So that's not necessarily how it works. I just putting together 250 people, teams, plays, and just going through it. Now I'm kind of mixing it up. So the first week, all right, it was like one day was all teams, one day was all players, one day was all coaches. Now we're just going to kind of mix them all up and keep it fresh and such. So with that being said, our next 10 is a combination of some coaches and some players that, again, I don't think, in my opinion, you can tell the history of sports in America without mentioning these 10 individuals. All right, when you think about it, all the different things and the impact that they had, all the winning that they had, they got to be mentioned in the story if you were to write this book or teach in a class. All right, so let's start off with some coaches. And I'm going to go to women's basketball. Gino Auriemma, perhaps the greatest women's basketball coach of all time. If he's not one, he's top two. You can't argue with numbers. I mean, his record is 886 win percentage, 1,288 wins, 166 losses. Has been at UConn since 1985. 12 times he has won a national championship. 12, a dozen. All right, he has been to 25 Final Fours. When you think about dominance in women's college basketball or just college basketball in general, Gino is there. UConn women's basketball is there. The how many runs of undefeated, the talented players that have gone through this program, whether it's Paige, Diana, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So many of the game's greatest players have come through UConn women's basketball. Dynasty, when you talk about some of the dynasty teams or organizations or programs, UConn women's basketball is there, and it's because of the job that Gino Auriemma has done. And he has done it for a long, long time. It is kind of nuts to think about his first year at UConn. I wasn't even born yet, and he's still getting it done at a high level. Can't tell the history about American sports. You definitely can't tell the history about college basketball and women's college basketball without Gino Auriemma. And in that same breath, Pat Summitt. You got to throw Pat Summitt in there. 841 winning percentage. was head coach at Tennessee from 1974 to 2012. 8 national championships, 18 Final Four appearances. The really cool thing, too, about Pat Summitt is how quickly she didn't really have much coaching experience, right? Her playing career, 1970 to 1974. Her coaching career started 1974, just before the 74-75 season. 22-year-old Pat Summitt became a graduate assistant at the University of Tennessee and was named head coach of the Lady Vols after the previous coach suddenly quit. Thrown into the fire right away. Right away. But she, at least in my opinion too, and maybe during, more so my era, was kind of the first. Gino was there, but then Pat Summitt was kind of first one. Tennessee, Lady Vols. You think about those teams. You think about those programs. You think about that dynasty. And I know she's no longer with us, passing away at the young age of 64. But I could still, when I was younger, it was one of those, you knew who Pat Summitt was. And you knew about the Tennessee women's basketball team. When I was a younger kid and I was watching ESPN or just watching sports, or you were just talking with your friends at the lunch table at school, you knew who Pat Summitt was, and you knew who Tennessee women's basketball was. We talk about icons, and we talk about brands. All right, UConn women's basketball, Tennessee women's basketball under Pat Summitt, those are brands. Those are iconic brands. They're not only dynasties, and they're not only big-time programs, but, those are iconic. And it kind of started, with Pat Summitt and women's basketball coaching. It's just, I remember, I think it's one of the, when you can say that, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, or I really don't follow that sport, but yeah, I definitely know who that is. And then when it was a coach, Pat Summitt. You can't tell the history of sports in America without mentioning the name of Pat Summitt. Let's continue with a couple more coaches, okay? Let's go to the NBA world now. And from a winning standpoint, you got to start off with Red Auerbach, the head coach of those dominant Boston Celtics teams. Also was an executive with the Boston Celtics, too. So, the early goings of a very successful coach that went on to be a pretty darn successful executive with the Boston Celtics, too. 9-time champion. 9 times as an NBA coach. Won in 1957, and then straight through 59 to 66. And then he won 7 rings as an NBA executive. 1968, 69, 74, 76, 81, 84, and 86. Count them. 16 rings. His number 2, he's actually got the number 2 retired by the Boston Celtics, too. So, had a 662 winning percentage, 938 wins, 479 losses. But when you think about some of those early Boston teams, right? Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, the head coach. Red Auerbach obviously coached before I was around. But Red Auerbach, one of the images that I can think about is him with the cigar, right? He's got the cigar. And we know about, I think a lot of people, casual fans or casual NBA fans, maybe know more about him being the coach of those teams and that, but what he did as an executive too is just as impressive. I mean, acquire, like Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, obviously Larry Bird, right? We know all that. We know those players, but what he did as a coach and then followed it up with what he did as an executive is pretty flippin' impressive. Widely regarded easily as one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. I mean, the Coach of the Year award is named in his honor, for crying out loud. So when you talk about the early goings of the NBA and in basketball, you got to start with Red Auerbach and the dynasties that he helped create with this icon. We talked about the Boston Celtics being an iconic franchise dynasty. Red Auerbach had his handprints, fingerprints all over those dynasty teams. Staying with the NBA, you want to talk about winning? I got to go. Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, for crying out loud. Chicago, the Lakers, 11-time NBA champion. 11 times. 6 with the Bulls, 5 with the Lakers. 6 with the Jordan and Pippen Bulls, and then the last 3, you throw in a little Dennis Rodman. First 3 with the Lakers, the Shaq and Kobe, and then 2 more with Kobe and Paul Gasol. I remember when I was younger, first of all, Phil Jackson, a 704 winning percentage, 1,155 wins, 485 losses. But I remember when I was younger, and it's still to this day, a lot of people knock Phil Jackson because they're like, well, look at the players he had. He had Jordan and Pippen. Then he goes to the Lakers and he gets Shaq and Kobe, and then Kobe and Paul Gasol. And my counter argument to all that is, what were they doing before he got there? They weren't winning championships before he got there. Great. He inherited some talented players. But you know what? That was a lot of egos that he had to try to manage too. The Zen Master, he doesn't get that nickname by accident. It's one thing, to just kind of ride the coattails of some great players and add those championships. But Phil Jackson was just as crucial to those championships as Michael Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, Pippen, whoever. Maybe they win a couple championships without him, but Bulls ain't winning 6 without Phil Jackson. I don't think the Lakers in the first run with Shaq and Kobe are winning 3. And if he doesn't come back, Kobe may not have 2 more at the back end of his career in the early 2000s, like that 08, 09, 10 run era there. Phil Jackson is one of the greatest winners from a coaching standpoint in sports history. Didn't have as successful of a tenure as an executive like Red Auerbach did. But if there was an NBA coach that I could pick to lead my team, I honestly would probably pick Phil Jackson because of his ability to just coach and manage so many different personalities and egos on a team. That to me, and obviously the winning, he is a proven winner. He would be my first pick as a coach if I was creating the all-time NBA team. No offense to Red Auerbach or anything like that. I'd go Phil Jackson. Let's add a few players to this now. So we did 4 coaches, but I want to bring in some players that we just kind of mentioned there. And let's start off with Larry Bird. Okay. Again, Larry Legend. Larry Bird. I still love listening to stories about Larry Bird, whether it's him being the greatest trash talker that nobody knew, or whether it's watching maybe his unorthodox form of his jump shot. Larry Bird today doesn't. If you look at Larry Bird highlights, if you showed, I think, a youngster clips of Larry Bird during his heyday and said this is one of the greatest NBA players of all time, I think a lot of kids would be like, "Who? What are you talking about? That doesn't look like an NBA player." But Larry Bird, 3-time champion, 3-time MVP, coming in at the same, and I'm going to mention Magic here as part of this too, but coming in at the same time as Magic, taking the NBA to another level. What he did with the Boston Celtics. Maybe the franchise's best player, or greatest player of all time. And I know Boston's got a lot of players. Bill Russell and all of those players are available. Larry Bird, though, if I were creating an all-time starting five, Larry Bird would probably be in my starting lineup. What he can do as a passer, as a three-point shooter, as a scorer, as a defender, and with that swag and competitive drive that he brings, yeah, I'd probably have him in my starting five. One of the greatest players in NBA history, one of the greatest forwards of all time. You got to throw Larry Bird in there, and then right with him, you got to throw Magic Johnson in there. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, even though they weren't teammates unless you count the Dream Team. But college days, whether it was Bird at Indiana State and Magic at Michigan State, and then they take that friendly rivalry to the NBA, and these two are just, good friends to this day. But you can't tell the NBA history without these two coming in at the same time. But Magic Johnson, for many, the greatest point guard of all time. He's a 5-time champion, 3-time MVP. I remember, was I a freshman in high school, in advanced comp, I did a research paper on Magic Johnson. I don't know why I chose Magic Johnson, to be honest with you. I really don't know why. But I'm glad I did, because you get to learn a little bit more. And obviously, a lot of people know about his HIV/AIDS diagnosis. That was, you talk about, we could throw that in as a moment too, top 250 moments in sports. And I think you kind of have to when you talk about Magic Johnson. Not only his play, but the illness, his illness, HIV positive, and the shockwave that sent throughout the entire sports world, the NBA world. You're talking about one of the greatest players of all time. And then I still remember when he came back, was it 95, 96, somewhere around there? I remember watching his first game back on a little TV in my grandma's spare bedroom. Just because I was a little bit older. And then I knew who Magic Johnson was. I'm like, hey, I get a chance to watch him? All right, cool, yeah, great. 99 to 2000, but I think it was the 99 season. But he played a little bit in 96 too. Coach, remember he was a coach. I actually have a card of him being a coach on the sidelines for the Lakers. But, yeah, no, it was 96. Yeah, getting my 90s mixed up. But anyway, you know what I mean. But you talk about a 6'9" point guard. 6'9" point guard. One of the best passers, scorers in the league. And I loved the story about in the finals. Kareem's out. Magic goes play center and plays awesome. Stories like that. The NBA history, when you talk about moments in NBA, you talk about Larry and Magic, and then obviously Magic with HIV positive. Again, you can't tell the history of the NBA without Magic and without Magic and Larry. Kind of like they're together in that story. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So got a couple more here. Well, okay, I'll mention these two since we were talking a little bit. We'll start off with Shaq. So I have a soft spot for Shaq, but because he was my favorite player as a kid, probably my first favorite player of all time, regardless of sport. I had the Shaq figurines. I had the Shaq posters. I would buy Shaq CDs, even though I didn't know what the heck type of music this was. I didn't care because if it had Shaq, I was Shaq. VHS tapes. I mean, Shaq. Card collecting, Shaq. To me, is the most dominating center of all time. And one of the most iconic names in NBA history, pop culture, still to this day. Shaq. People know who Shaq is. Shaq Fu, Shaq Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, a 7'1" monster, 300 pounds, and he could run the court, run the floor. It was a dangerous sight. The most dominating center of all time, in my opinion. You had Kareem as a scorer. Wilt, obviously, back in his day, scored a ton of points. But Shaq, I mean, when you have to do a hack at Shaq and all that, I mean, just one of the most physically dominating players that this sport has ever seen. And then you talk about the moment that, he left Orlando and signs that huge deal with the Lakers. That's a big moment in NBA history. That's a big moment in sports history. It broke my heart because it happened shortly after my Shaquille O'Neal Orlando Magic themed birthday party when I just turned 10 years old. So I remember listening to the radio on the steps outside my basketball court in the driveway and heartbroken as a 10-year-old. But you got to throw Shaq in there. And you got to throw one of his teammates in there, Mr. Kobe Bryant. I have really, the last few years, grown a greater appreciation. The more I learned, the more I would hear stories, thoughts from Kobe Bryant. And, when Shaq was with the Lakers and obviously Kobe there, and it felt like as fans we had to choose sides. Are you team Kobe or are you team Shaq? And I was team Shaq. And I was like, okay, Kobe's a great player, but, Shaq's the man. Shaq's the diesel. He's the guy that everything runs through. It's Shaq. It's Shaq attack. And I don't know if it was just, Kobe was so young. And then when he gets later on and then just the Mamba mentality and his focus and his desire to be great really kind of resonated towards me. And he, to me, is the closest to Michael Jordan that we have ever seen. It's not LeBron James. It's not, these other players that I think even O.J. Mayo at one time was, what? That could be another Jordan. Kobe Bryant is the closest reincarnation to Michael Jordan. Everything from height to play style to mentality, those two. And I have the last few years man, Kobe keeps moving up on my list of all-time greats and starting fives. I would put Kobe in my all-time starting five. Give me Kobe and give me Jordan, and I ain't losing a game. I'd get those two. I know some people say, well, there's only one ball to go around. You're right. But for some reason, I think between those two, if they were playing, they'd understand the task at hand, and that task is to win ball games, and they would do whatever it would take to win a ball game. And then his tragic death, the helicopter crash, the shock that I still remember that day, happened during the Pro Bowl. And it's still an incredibly sad story, but it's a moment in history, too, that I think a lot of diehard sports fans, I remember doing the show the Monday morning after. And I remember listening to other shows. And it just, the feeling that other people had, this feeling of grief. And I remember watching the service he had at the Lakers arena and seeing Jordan talk and Shaq talk and all these players. It's still vivid in my mind. So I got to throw Kobe in there. I'm going to throw another big man, Laker. You can't tell the history of sports, and this is going to be combo player and combo player and moment. Wilt Chamberlain, and you got to throw in Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, you look at some of his points scored during his playing career, and they're nuts. They're crazy, okay? They're just absolutely insane. He's the only player to average 30 points and 20 rebounds per game in a season. He once gathered 55 rebounds. He's you ask anybody to say, hey, tell me one thing about Wilt Chamberlain. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to say, oh, the guy that scored 100 points in a game. Yeah. I mean, he won a championship twice. He was an MVP 4 times. He's scored 31,000 points in his career. His career averages 30.1 points per game, 22.9 rebounds per game. Was he the beneficiary of, just this massive guy, a 7'1" dude playing in a league where Bill Russell was 6'9"? Sure, Bill Russell held his own. But, I mean, when you think about iconic images, too, in sports, it's what? Wilt Chamberlain holding up the 100 piece of paper that says 100. Players to this day, when they put up 80 points, 70-some points, whatever it is, like Bam just did that when he scored whatever it was. I don't even remember off the top. Let me look it up here quick. But, they write it on a piece of paper to kind of emulate Wilt Chamberlain. Bam had 83. They still do that. And you see different variations of it. It's one of the most iconic pictures and images in all of sports. So you got to throw Wilt Chamberlain into this conversation. And then finally, I'll wrap it up. I think it's only fitting for the final one here. Let me double check. I want to make sure. Actually, no, let's go. I'm going to do a quick audible here. I'm going to throw in this player just to kind of change it up. But I think a player that has really changed the game more recently than a lot of people or than a lot of players, and that's Steph Curry. Now, I know some people may say, oh, it's 250, and, to me, he's one of the best players of all time. He's one of the greatest shooters, if not the greatest shooter of all time. And you want to talk about a player that has changed the game. Steph Curry is one of those. He is on the short list. He is on top. Look, go to a YMCA or to a youth basketball game and a rec basketball game, or go to the playground and watch kids play basketball, and you will see why. He is one of the players that has changed the game the most. The 3-point shot. Not only the 3-point shot, but you're talking about half-court shots of ease. Is there a Caitlin Clark without a Steph Curry? When you talk about long-distance shooting, and with the ease and the smoothness that he had. For crying out loud, I remember watching his Davidson run. It's like, this is Del Curry's kid? Like, I remember watching Del Curry as a kid for the Hornets, and this is Del Curry's kid? And why, if he's this good, why is he playing on Davidson? I remember Davidson beating the Badgers. I think it was a Sweet 16. And just like, you couldn't stop him. It's like, okay, that's not going to work in the NBA. Bull. It worked in the NBA, man. And the 3-point numbers that he's putting up, I don't know if they're going to be broken. But when you want to talk about one of the most influential athletes in the game of basketball, and an athlete that has changed the game, you got to throw Steph Curry into that equation. So, again, somebody mentioned Tim Duncan. It's 250, peeps, okay? Ooh, we got a long ways to go in this thing. Long ways to go. We got 190 more to go. It's not a ranking. It's not a ranking. We'll get to a lot more here, but that's our next 10 for our top 50. All right, we got to take a quick break. I'm running behind. So we'll be back after these quick words. Going on today, we got a one-day Hy-Vee sale. 1 day for you to take advantage of some of these sales. It includes $1.99 for a 24-pack of Hy-Vee purified drinking water, 288 Jack's Pizzas, 99-cent 12-count of Hy-Vee large eggs. Buy one, get one free Hy-Vee tortilla chips. 88 cents banquet fruit or meat pies under $3.99. Hy-Vee fish markets, raw shrimp. These are some great deals, and they're only happening for 1 day. 1 day today. So head on over to Hy-Vee in Eau Claire and take advantage of this one-day sale. And don't forget, by shopping at Hy-Vee too, you can save some money at the gas pump with their fuel perks, with their fuel savers there too. So don't forget to follow Hy-Vee on Facebook, because hey, you want to be up to date, you want to be in tune, you want to know about these one-day sales or 3-day sales or all of the savings that you can get at Hy-Vee. Well, they always post them up on their Facebook page. So go look them up, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Follow, like their Facebook page. I went a little long on my latest 10 of the top 250. So don't yell. I do got to take another break before the top of the hour, okay? So I'll get to that. Coming up next hour, I will get back to some more baseball talk with the Brew Crew and such. But send me your VFW post 305 best and worst from the weekend. All right, text those on over or send them on over in the Section 105 chat room. Best and worst from the weekend, brought to you by VFW Post 305. So, yeah, we'll get back to some more Brewers talk coming up in the next hour. And we're going to kick off a new segment, the MMCGPT, also in the next hour. All right, final break for this hour. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. Sunshine road trips and summer adventures are calling. Is your vehicle ready at AGM Automotive in Eau Claire? They'll make sure that you hit the road with confidence. From AC checks and oil changes to brakes and full inspections, AGM Automotive has you covered before the heat kicks in. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, expert service is always just around the corner. Don't let car trouble slow you down for your summer plans. Schedule your appointment today by visiting agmautomotiveservices.com. AGM Automotive, keeping you cool, safe, and road trip ready all summer long. Don't forget, if you have issues with the lawnmower, like I did a week or so ago, they can help you out with that too. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut us off. Let's kick off the next hour with a new Monday morning segment called the Monday Morning GPT. Monday Morning Chat GPT. So, all right. We'll explain what that is coming up here. And don't forget, send me your VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. We'll be right back after these news updates. All right, third quarter. It kicks off right now. Halftime is over with. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. And no matter where you're listening to us from or how you may be listening to us, we're going to talk some more Brewers this hour as the Brew Crew getting set for a 3-game series over in Vegas, taking on the Athletics. So, hey, I want to throw out a little bit of a, I don't know if it's necessarily a poll question as such, but I know like Savannah Bananas were down in Milwaukee, and I believe they're coming up here against, or going to be at Target Field. Has anybody been to one of those games? And if you have, I would love to kind of hear your feedback, because I'm looking at pictures right now from American Family Field. I mean, it is packed, it is sold out. So I'd really like to hear some feedback if you've ever been. I know I've got a couple of kiddos on my summer league team or baseball team that are going to Target Field to watch them. So I'm just curious if anybody has taken their kids, or if you've gone, and what's it like? Do you enjoy that? Do you? I know some people, some are kind of on the side of like, no, that's not real sports, or some really like it, really kind of like what they do. Is it more just from an entertainment standpoint? So I'm kind of curious. Hit me up. Shoot me a text, 715-830-1912, or join in on the Section 105 chat. Speaking of Brewers, so every Monday, and this is going to be something kind of more used during the football season, because when you hear the term Monday morning quarterbacking, you probably hear, I mean, it's in the name with quarterback, but we know what Monday morning quarterbacking is, right? Second guessing, or why are you doing this, or why they do that, should have done this, should have done that sort of thing. Well, let's have a little fun with this. All right, so starting today and every Monday going forward, we're going to do our Monday morning quarterback version, but we are putting it to the Chat GPT test. We're going to take a moment. Now, it could be a play, it could be a trade, it could be a move, it could be a decision, whatever. And we're going to put it to the test of ChatGPT to see if the artificial overlords out there would have made the same decision as us, we humans. So the first time I'm putting this through, and we might do it a couple times each Monday, because Lord knows during the football season, there may be a few of them, excuse me, that we might have to throw through this. I do need a good name for our ChatGPT coach, though. So for right now, we're calling it MMCGPT, Monday Morning Chat GPT. And the moment I'm putting in is the Jacob Mizorowski. It's easy for us now to see how it worked out, okay? But so I plugged it into Chat GPT. I didn't say the names because I didn't want to give it, kind of like, well, it worked when it happened. And the moment I'm talking about is 7th inning. Jacob Mizorowski, 2 on, 1 out. The moment that him and Pat Murphy kind of lock eyes, a little bit of stare down. Mizorowski pushing to stay in there. Murphy leaves him in there. And Mizorowski strikes out the next 2 batters and escapes it. It worked, right? It worked. So a lot of managers might not have done that. Might have played the odds a little bit and went to the bullpen. So I plugged in everything. The score, the situation, the pitch count. All right. What Mizorowski, how hard he was still throwing. I plugged in all of those scenarios. Everything. And just that without putting the names or the teams. And I said, what would you have done? Would you have left your starter in there? Or would you have went to the bullpen just to see what the computers tell us to do, what the analytics or AI, whatever we want to call it? And our Monday morning Chat GPT said they would have went to the bullpen. The reason being, they said, is leverage, saying this is probably the biggest moment of the game, the tying run, 90 feet away, go-ahead runs on base, top of the order coming up. If you lose the lead here, you may only get one more chance to it. As manager, I'm asking who gives me the best chance to get the next 2 outs. If I've got that high-end reliever available, especially with one swing and miss pitch, I'm making the move. Modern bullpen strategy is built around using your best relievers in the highest leverage situations, not necessarily saving them for the 9th inning. So, there you have it. It says, finally, too, for me, the deciding factor isn't the pitch count. It's the fact that the top of the order represents the highest leverage plate appearances of the game. That's when I want my absolute best matchup on the mound. So, that's what our Monday morning ChatGPT says they would have done in that situation. It's easy for us now to say, oh, they got it wrong. But I ask you. I ask you, and they say here, I'd say about 70% chance I make the pitching change. Oh, I thought I read that wrong. Anyways, that's something different. I ask you, at that moment, try to go back to it. Would you have kept Miz in there, or would you have gone to the bullpen? How would you have done that? Would you have agreed with our coach, ChatGPT, or would you have agreed with Pat Murphy? Again, that's probably not a fair thing to ask because we know the result. It worked. Mizorowski struck out the 2, and boom, Brewers go on to win the game. So it's probably not necessarily fair to because it's our opinion may be already kind of polluted at that point. But I'm curious when we really get like into football season, what the computers out there will kind of say for Matt LaFleur's decisions and such. That one should be fun because everybody's got an opinion on that, whether it works or not. Do I go for it on 4th and 2, up 3, up 4, whatever, with 2 minutes left in the game? Or let's say up 2 with 2 minutes left in the game, or do I punt it? We're gonna have some fun with this during the season, but maybe some other decisions and such, recent ones. But all right, tell you what, let's talk some more Brewers here as we get set for Game 1 against the Athletics tonight. It's going to be a late one, so put on the midnight oil for us early risers. Gotta love these West Coast trips, man. 9:05 first pitch. 9:05 first pitch. Coverage will begin 35 minutes prior on your favorite radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. We get Kyle Harrison on the mound tonight. And Kyle Harrison's bringing his 7-1 record, 1.57 ERA. Can he get his 8th win? Can he improve to 8-1? I know it's not necessarily been the back-to-back with him and Mizorowski these last couple outings. They've put another pitcher in between in that, but it's like, okay, Miz does this. Kyle Harrison follows up by doing this. Just takes it up another level. Adds another notch to it. But I'm excited to see what Harrison can do tonight. And I think, from an offensive standpoint, this is a team that we've seen time and time again. And I know most recently this past weekend. It feels like it doesn't matter at what point in the game it's at. This is a team that's not going to give up offensively. I mean, we saw that Friday night. Just a couple of hits, and it's like they exploded. Took advantage of it. Like, this is a team, too, offensively. It sure feels like a lot of times. We always hear the phrase, if you're like into baseball and such, the phrase, hits are contagious. Gosh, it seems like the Brewers kind of buy into that philosophy at times, or more times than not this year. Hits are contagious. Runs are contagious. How many crooked innings have they had? I mean, putting up those ridiculous runs and at just random moments in the game. It's hard to argue that they don't buy into that philosophy that it's contagious, man. Kyle Harrison's last game back on the 2nd. He went 5 2/3 against his former team, the Giants, and that's when he struck out 12 batters. 12 batters. I want to talk a little bit more about Kyle Harrison, but I got to take a quick break. We'll talk some more Brewers baseball coming up after these few words. With Father's Day coming up, if you're trying to decide where to take him for a little breakfast, a little brunch, all that fun stuff, take him to the VFW Post 305 because they've got their special Father's Day buffet Sunday, June 21st from 7 a.m. to noon. And from now up until Father's Day, you can enter to win a Father's Day basket with every breakfast purchase from now and June 21st. And don't forget about Saturdays with live music and happy hours on the patio because every summer Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m., weather permitting. But if it's a gorgeous Saturday, kind of like what we just had, kind of just like what we had, right? But bring your camera, take in the view, watch their resident Raptors do a little hunting and fishing, and grab a drink and enjoy some great live music performed by their talented local musicians. They'll be featuring food and drink specials. And, of course, your four-legged friends are always welcome. So if you're like, I don't want to leave the pups at home, I want to hang out with them, bring them with to the VFW Post 305. Can't ask for a better view on a summer Saturday afternoon with some cold beverages, some great food, great music, and an awesome view. Yeah, every Saturday, 3 to 6. Again, weather permitting. Since it is a VFW Post 305, don't forget to send me your best and worst from the weekends. All right, you can text those on over at 715-830-1912 or hit us up on the Section 105 chat. Coming up at 9 o'clock, by the way, we'll do our Eau Claire Express chat. Craig Toyson will be joining us here this morning. The Express are still doing their road trip out west. They just split this past weekend against the Badlands Big Sticks. They're going to be taking on Wilmer for a couple games tonight and tomorrow. And then they will return home for Wednesday, Thursday. And this Thursday will be our first Tailgate Thursday night at the Eau Claire Express game. So at 5:30. We'll have the mobile man cave out in the parking lot at Carson Park and hanging out and doing a little, just hanging out and having some fun before first pitch. And if you got some kiddos, bring them on over because Brian from the Card Collecting Club is going to be hanging out with me, and he's going to be handing out some cards, free cards to kiddos who stop by. And then while supplies last, I'll have some tickets for that game too. So you want to stop on over, grab a free ticket to the game and free cards for the kiddos. Be there around 5:30 up until game time this Thursday at Carson Park. Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Crew tonight. He's bringing his 7-1 record and a 1.57 ERA. Kyle Harrison, easily one of the best surprises so far this year. I think there was optimism. There was excitement about the potential that he could have as a starting pitcher with this group and that. But he is blowing the doors off of any legit, real expectations that we had for Kyle Harrison this year. I mean, we're on June 8th to say that he's 7-1 with a 1.57 ERA. You would have predicted that or predicted something better, you're lying to yourself. He is a big reason why this Brewers team is at 40 wins and has set the franchise record for the fastest amount of time to get to 40 wins in a season. He is one of the big reasons why this team is in the position that they are at. Him and Jacob Mizorowski, we have talked about it numerous times, is one of the best, and maybe for some of us, we feel like they are the best duo starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. And I'm excited to see what he has in store for us tonight going up against the Athletics. Can he get to 8-1? And then kind of move in? Well, he would move into second place for wins in Major League Baseball. It's a really good opportunity, a really good chance for that. He's kind of like Mizorowski for me, where it's like, what's next each time he's out there? And, you know, Mizorowski just kind of does a little, I don't want to kind of dumb it down, but every time he's out there, he just kind of does something more, like setting 45 pitches over 101 miles per hour, or just doing something different. Might just kind of be a little bit of a headline or a sub-headline and such, but Miz goes out there and then Kyle Harrison goes out and does kind of his own version. Or he'll go out there and strike out 12 and set a career high. Watching these two pitchers, it's so much dang fun to watch. And I'm just, so glad they're on my team, dude. So I'm excited to see what he has in store. And I know I'm probably putting some high expectations on the kid, and he's going to have a bad performance. He's probably going to have a couple of them. Probably a few more this season. But dude is setting the bar really, really high. And just makes that trade between him and even what David Hamilton is doing, for crying out loud. Shane Drone just picked up a win too. I know Monasterio had a home run a couple days ago, but geez, Boston ain't going to want to do any type of trade with the Brewers anytime soon. That might be one of the more lopsided trades we have seen. All right, Caleb's up to 192 right now. He must be on a nice little bit of a streak here. Yeah, all right. So Caleb Durman in his last 27 at-bats. Okay, 296. He's up to a 296. Good for him. And that's the thing. It's like we don't want I hope Brewers fans don't want anything bad for Caleb Durban or to have a poor season or anything like that. But it's hard to look at what the Brewers are getting from Shane Drowan and obviously Kyle Harrison, and now what we're seeing from David Hamilton. What we sent over there, what the Brewers sent over there for exchange. Whew. Brewers easily got the win on that one, you guys. Easily. Kind of looking at, so we've only got 99 games left to go. I say only, but I feel like this is going to go fast. 99 games left to go here for the Crew. We are down to double digits. No more triple digits, down to double digits. And the Brewers are just the third team in all of Major League Baseball to hit 40 wins so far this season. Just the third. The other two, Braves and Dodgers. Braves ain't slowing down anytime soon. They're 45-21 still, riding 8-2 in their last 10. Philly, though, they're playing good, and they're trying to play a little catch-up here. Los Angeles, doing their thing, 42-24. But a lot of these numbers, and you look at it, and the Brewers are up there and compared to them in a lot of these categories. A lot of these stats and statistics. Team-wise, hitting, Brewers, hey, they're no longer dead last in home runs. They got 50. They hit the 50 mark over the weekend in Colorado. Boston's worse than them. But in terms of runs scored, Brewers, top 5. Washington's 1, Dodgers 2, Atlanta 3, Pittsburgh 4, Brewers 5. Hits, Brewers 11th. Batting average, Brewers are 6th best. On-base percentage, Brewers are 2nd best. Only behind the Dodgers. Brewers 339, Dodgers 343. OPS, Brewers 10th best in Major League Baseball, 720. Dodgers are best at 784. It's, just slugging, they're towards the bottom. In home runs, they're towards the bottom. And, ironically, too, the Brewers, second most walks. They've taken the second most walks in Major League Baseball. Only behind the Chicago Cubs. Brewers have taken 275. Cubbies, 286. And the Brewers are one of the best at not striking out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have struck out the 4th fewest times. The only 3 teams ahead of them, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Arizona. And we probably don't really need to talk about the pitching. Brewers have the third most strikeouts as a pitching staff in Major League Baseball. Cleveland and Philadelphia are the only two that are better than them or higher than them. Opponent's batting average, Brewers, third best, 222. The two teams ahead of them are the two teams in the National League that have better records than them, Dodgers and Braves. Team ERA, same thing. Brewers, third, 3.26. Dodgers, 3.17. Braves, 3.19. Home runs given up, they're the best, 47. They've only given up 47 home runs. Next, the Yankees, 55. Worst, by the way, Cubbies, 96. Cubbies have some major issues when it comes to their starting pitchers. Hits given up, Brewers, second best from a pitching staff, 461. Team that's the best, Dodgers, 445. They're right there. And, you look at the MLB.com's power rankings again, and they even throw a line. The casual fan always asks why the Brewers are always at this spot, and they just threw out one name of Bryce Terang. But really, when you look at the roster, I will make the argument that the Brewers have – I almost feel like from the way that a lot of national people kind of talk about the Brewers or some of these blogs or stories, the way they frame them, I feel like a lot of times they almost kind of give the impression like, man, the Brewers are playing above their talent. It's like they view the Brewers as Cleveland from Major League. But look at the roster. They've got players. They've got good players. They've got all-stars, former MVPs. Yelich is a former MVP. Jackson Chourio is a young star. Bryce Terang is a star. Contreras is a star. Jacob Mizorowski is a star. Trevor McGill's a former all-star. They've got players, and I feel like a lot of times that the narrative, and I don't know if it's on purpose or just accident or how it's framed, they just kind of give the impression at times like, yeah, I don't know how they're winning because they don't got anybody on that team. They got players. They got good players across the board at different levels on this team. And then you're having career years so far from guys like Jake Bauers. I mean, Jake Bauers, I don't think he's going to, but he is playing at an all-star level. He's probably not going to get in, but he's hitting 281. He's got an 892 OPS. He's got 11 dingers, 40 RBIs. He's playing at a high level, but yeah, you look at first base in the National League, it's probably going to be a little bit of a popularity contest too. But you add in, the career year of a Jake Bauers. Yeah, this is a good team, and I feel like sometimes it gets framed like, man, how do they keep doing this? It's because they got good players. They got a really good manager. They got a great coaching staff. That's why. All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up in just a few minutes. When it comes to quality meat in Eau Claire, there is one name that locals trust. That's Mike's Star Market. From hand-cut steaks and fresh ground beef to homemade brats and specialty items, everything is prepared with care and packed with flavor. Planning a cookout, filling the freezer, or you're just looking for something better for dinner tonight? Hey, Mike's Star Market has got you covered, peeps. So stop on in today and taste the difference. Mike's Star Market, your hometown butcher shop in Eau Claire. All right. So, again, we're going to chat some more baseball, Express baseball, coming up at the top of the hour, just past the top of the hour. Craig Toyson will be joining us, chat a little Eau Claire Express. We've got Tim in the Cooley region. His VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. Best of the weekend is Terang hitting 2 dingers at Saturday night. He has become a rock on the Brewers with his offense and defense, maybe one of the leaders of this year's team. Worst of the weekend, state of Illinois not keeping the Bears in Chicago. I can't imagine the Packers playing in Michigan, Iowa, or Minnesota. I know I said it last month, I think it was, but Bryce Terang has quickly, instantly turned into one of my favorite players. I love how the guy goes about his business. I love, and I've got a special, shall we say, like a special place for guys who just continue to get better. Like they put in the work and they just continue to get better and better and better. And there's no better example than Bryce Terang from when he began his career. There's just, we can see every year how he is just improved and just consistently getting better. The defense has always been there. It's the offense. You go back to 2023. His average was 218 and his OPS was a 585. Sent back down. Wasn't getting it done. Couldn't hit left-handed pitching. 2024 makes a leap. 254. OPS 665. First year he hit 6 home runs. Second year he hit 7. Wins his first Gold Glove. Platinum Glove. 2025. Bumps up his average to 288 and his OPS of a 794 and started to display some power. 18 home runs. And this year, his average is 281. So, 7 points down from 288. But his OPS over 100 points higher, 881. He's already at 9 home runs. And this is a guy that doesn't seem to be the, look at me, spotlight on me, just goes out there and does his thing. Kind of a soft-spoken, quiet player, goes out there and plays baseball. And I love watching that guy play ball. And he has instantly turned into one of my favorites. And I know, if I look at it from the disappointing side, not disappointing, but the Debbie Downer kind of side, it's like, oh, well, how much longer is he going to be with the Brewers? Pricing himself out. Yeah, that might be a thing. And you can say that for a lot of Brewers players. But that's why I choose to enjoy it and follow them, and embrace the moment while we still got it. I just hope that maybe we can somehow get a championship with this crew, pun intended, while we still have him. Zach says Terang is my favorite player. The guy is just an amazing ball player. Zach also says, best of the weekend, Brewer sweep, worst of the weekend. Didn't get a chance to get out on the golf course over the beautiful weekend. I did golf a little bit on Saturday. Shout out Bud Open at Ojibwa. A lot of fun, but a big-time shout-out to one of the organizers, Nick, for doing a fantastic job. It's always a fun time playing in the Bud Open at Ojibwa Golf Course. Course is in really good shape, too. So, hey, Brian from Card Collecting Club also chiming in saying, looking forward to seeing you this Thursday at the Express game. Can't wait to get free cards to kids. Absolutely, Barb. A little bit earlier, I think this is when we threw out the Savannah Bananas thing. I've heard they keep prices low because they always sell out. I I do know a bunch of kiddos that are going over there too soon. Surveyor says, good morning, DK. Best and worst of the weekend. Best hitting 2 birdies at Mill Run in the front 9. Worst of the weekend. Driving up to your cabin Saturday evening only to find you open a door that a red squirrel has made your kitchen his living quarters. Needless to say, it turned out to be a squirrel hunting trip. Yikes. Yeah, I think my best of the weekend, well, getting to go golfing with some good friends. That was fun. Good weather. Good to get out. Worst of the weekend? I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. And overall, I think it was pretty decent. Pretty decent. But hey, continue to send those on over, your best and worst from the weekend. Text them or join in on the Section 105 chat room. I got a couple more that just came in. Best of the weekend, Brewers sweeping the Rockies. Some of you just going with best of the weekend. That was that one. We got another text that says, this is from Ben. Best of the weekend, Jacob Mizorowski continues to impress. Worst of the weekend, going to a bunch of graduation parties and not spending any time outdoors. Okay. All right. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. And then we'll start to wrap up the third quarter. The third hour, we are cruising through on this Monday morning. Join in, though. I want to hear from you more. I want to hear some more texts. I want to hear some more comments. Okay? Whether it's Brewers, throw me in some Bucks chats. Yeah, got a little Packers one. Not really a whole lot going on, but hey, I want to hear from you. All right, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Summer is here, and that means it is time to get outside, to make some memories, to be ready for whatever the season may bring. And that's where Tilden Gun comes on in. Whether you are gearing up for target practice, heading to the range, or preparing for your next outdoor adventure, Tilden Gun has the selection and expertise to get you set up right. From firearms and ammunition to accessories and safety gear, they've got everything you need, all backed by a knowledgeable service that you can trust. At Tilden Gun, it's not just about what you buy. It's about making sure that you feel confident, informed, and ready every single time you head on out. So this summer, don't just enjoy the outdoors. Be prepared for it. Stop by Tilden Gun today and see why they are a trusted name for shooters and outdoor enthusiasts alike. We got about 10 minutes left to the top of the hour. Few of you saying best was the Brewers sweep. Rodney needs some help, though. Okay, I probably should have phrased that better. Rodney's looking for some input. Rodney texting saying, help me out. Watching Cubs-Giants game, it was 1-1 going into the ninth inning. Cubs fans were wearing rally hats. Don't you need to be losing to wear the rally cap? What do you say? I'll throw it out to the rest of you. What's the What's the sports fan? What's the sports rule? What do you think? Yay or nay? Do you put the rally cap on only when you're losing, or do you put it at a tie? Or maybe in the case of the Cubs, desperate times call for desperate measures. So, where did help Rodney out? He says. What's your thoughts? What's your opinion? Do you put the rally cap on when you're tied, or is that a faux pas? So it's like, no. You don't do it when it's tied. You only do it when you're down. I guess for me, just in my thought, I thought you only do it when you're losing. Not about tied. Not tied. So, Surveyor says, no wonder why I'll just say stink, can't even use the rally cap right. Only when you're down. Yeah, I thought it was only when you're down too. I feel like that's the rule. But hey, if anybody else has a different thought, please send it on over. Text it or join in on the Section 105 chat room. All right. But again, Brewers, it's going to be a late one tonight for us early risers. So be prepared for it. 9:05 first pitch, and then 9:05 first pitch for tomorrow, and then 8:05 on Wednesday before the Brewers return home for I'd say a pretty big weekend series going up against the Phillies. That'll be a stretch run for a big stretch run coming up here for the Brewers. So, but one game at a time, one series at a time. Can't look too far ahead. Don't look too far ahead. I want to throw, I think this was an earlier text from over the weekend. Let me see if I can find it here. Somebody had texted in to see if I had seen these numbers. That's going to take me. Yeah, here it is. Somebody had said, even if the Packers were to pay Tucker Kraft a lot of money, they would be paying around $55.5 million to Watson, Reed, and Kraft. That's less than the Titans are paying for their current group of pass catchers in 2026. Again, I mean, we talked about it on Friday with the Christian Watson deal. I think it's a very team-friendly deal. Now, Watson 100% has an opportunity to earn a bunch of cash, over $100 million. But when you really look at guaranteed monies and all that stuff, and you look at that, deep dive into it, and then you add in the Jaden Reed stuff, Green Bay is, I think, from a cap position standpoint, in a really good spot. It's why they can still afford to sign Tucker Kraft. And I know I saw over the weekend too, there were some analysts out there saying Tucker Kraft could reset the tight end market. But it seems like with these other deals that the Packers have done, they're set up for that. They're able to do that. Still haven't gotten the full-on details from Christian Watt's contract here. So, like in terms of any other bonuses besides the signing bonus and the breakdowns and that. So, kind of waiting to see what that looks like. But yeah, I think that I know it didn't happen on the weekend, but I might do that as an honorable best from the last 4 days. We extended a little bit going back to last Thursday. That Watson deal, I think, was a good deal for Green Bay. Tim says, definitely only do it when you are losing. We've got Chris from Altoona going to the Packers charity softball event and catching a brats. Jordan Love shot out of a cannon. Worse, Jordan Love getting hit in the side of the head by a softball while running to first base. Holy, okay, I knew the game was going on. I went to one year. I thought it was fun. It was 2010. Donald Driver was the guy hosting it, but Aaron Rodgers was playing in it. Clay Matthews was playing in it. I had fun. I thought it was really enjoyable, but I did not know Jordan Love got hit in the side of the head. Now, I know there were some people freaking out because Micah Parsons was pitching and then he was like jogging to cover first base, and people were freaking out about that. I did see that. I did not see that Jordan Love got hit in the side of the head by a softball. But all right, well, seems like he's okay because, again, didn't hear anything about it. So keep those coming. Text them on over. Best and worst from the weekend. I've got a couple minutes left at the top of the hour. So, again, just past 9 o'clock, we're going to kick off the final hour with our Eau Claire Express chat. Owner Craig Toyson will be joining us. The Express still on the road. They're going to begin a 2-game series against the Wilmer Stingers, and then they'll return home for a 2-game series against the Badlands Big Sticks. And then much-needed off day coming up on Friday. But the Express, they're going to be home for a little bit here once they return back on Wednesday. Those 2 games against the Badlands Big Sticks. Off day Friday, then Thunder Bay comes to town again for a couple games. And then a week from today, we got 2 games hosting lacrosse and then hosting Wausau. And then a quick trip to Duluth, and then 3 more games at home at Carson Park. So, but Thursday, again, it's going to be our first tailgate Thursday nights. Going to be hanging out with the Mobile Man Cave at the Carson Park parking lot. Stop by, bring the kiddos, because our buddy Brian from Card Collecting Club is going to be hanging out with us and handing out some free cards to the kiddos too. So stop on by, and then I have some tickets to that game as well. So if you got a kiddo, stop by. While supplies last. Just got a few of them there. We'll hand out some of the tickets for that game too, so you can enjoy the ball game, taking on the Badlands Big Sticks. So, but we'll talk more Express with Mr. Craig coming up here in just a few minutes. With the final hour though too, continue to send me your best and worst from the weekend. We'll talk some more Brewers. Brewers, we're now 99 games left of the regular season. No more triple digits. 99. We're in the double digits. So Brewers, 40 wins, the fastest they've reached 40 wins in franchise history. 17 games above 500. 5.5 up on the Cardinals, who are in second place in the division. Reds now are below 500, so we do have a National League Central team that does not have a winning record. It's been a hot minute since that has happened. But Reds struggling here a little bit. Losers of 4 in a row. So they're sitting at 31 and 33 on the season. All right. Shot clock going to cut us off here. We've got some news updates, and then we'll be back to kick off the final quarter, the final hour, talking more baseball, talking some Express baseball, as we are, 2 weeks into the season already here? But they'll be back to Carson Park on Wednesday. All right, news updates. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, the final hour on this Monday morning of June 8th kicks off right now. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for tuning in, however you may be tuning in. Got a few more messages to get to here. I'll get to those in just a little bit, but you can continue to send us your VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. You can text it on over to that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or the Section 105 chat room. It is Monday morning, which means it's time to chat some more baseball as we continue with the Eau Claire Express season, already a couple weeks into the season, and owner Craig Toyson is joining us. And I know the team is kind of sort of wrapping up a long road streak here, but just coming off of a split weekend against the Badlands, and they got Wilmer coming up here, and then they'll be home here for a little bit after that too, and probably a much-needed off day coming up on Friday too for a lot of games.
We always talk, it's a grind in the Northwoods League, but I'm looking at the schedule as you are right now too, and that's the first hole in the schedule. 2.5 weeks in, so it's a grind.
I know, like last time when we had Pete come in last week, and he was kind of talking about, with the College World Series, a lot of your players still were having success at the collegiate level, so they weren't with the team here yet.
Starting to get some guys to show up. So it's, as they trickle in, that makes a big difference. We've got Holland Brock showed up from Montevallo. He's in town now and is off to a phenomenal start. So looking to see the rest of those guys start to trickle in. The pitching's been really good so far. The hitting's been decent. We've just been missing the clutch hitting so far, and some of the extra base hits have been lacking a little bit so far. But it's all stuff that's very easily fixed. So that's a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, a highlight last week too was, the walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Maybe that's what's gonna happen now, because I think that was Monday when Pete was in. So good luck.
I'm hoping something like that happens again. Right. The best part was my wife comes to a lot of games, and that's one she just happened to not be at, and she goes, "Of course, that's what happens when I'm gone." So I had some guests at the game, and they're not often at games, and watching some well hit balls to center field throughout the night. I said, "Nope, that's wood bats, Carson Park. That's where fly balls go to die. There's just not home runs hit the center." And I told them, I could count on one hand the amount of home runs that I've seen hit the center in Carson Park, and the wind's always blowing out. So when Matthew Mollick hit that, I knew it was well struck. And the old adage is, if you can see the fielder's numbers, so in this case, the center fielder, start running. I'm like, all right, he's going to tie the game. We might be able to walk. Oh, that ball is gone. Yeah. So it was one of the highlights of my time here was watching that play, because it was that was as hard a hit ball as I've seen at Carson Park, and very timely. So it was cool.
Absolutely. So also too, I want to give a shout out to our friends at the Leader Telegram. A really cool piece about Dale and CJ in there too. So that's got to be cool for Dale to have. CJ on the
I
team
talked to Dale because actually CJ's time is wrapping up with us. He's here temporarily. I'm hoping he gets another chance to come back, and some of it is based off of contracts that we have available right now. And knock on wood, it's been great that guys have stayed healthy. And we've got those contracts full, but he sure represented the Varsho name really well. I think when his last game wrapped up with us, or when, as he's wrapping up, he's getting close. But he's, I think he was leading the Northwoods League in hitting by 100 points. So hitting 556, and they weren't cheap hits. Uses all parts of the field. He's fast as heck. Made some great plays in the field. He's shown why he's playing college baseball, and he's, like I said, he's represented the Varsho name really well. It's
absolutely
awesome to see. Great kid.
Yeah, definitely. What's we're talking about this road trip that they're currently on. How beneficial do you think it is to have a road trip like that, for 6 games early on in the season, while you still have guys kind of coming in to the team too?
I really do think it is, and especially now, this was a great timing one, because you start to have some of those full-time guys trickle in just before we have that trip. There's so much downtime in the Northwoods League, whether it's on the bus, whether you get to the ballpark early. I've seen it as other teams get into Carson Park. They're hanging out together. Hacky Sack has made a huge comeback in baseball.
I've heard that. Yeah.
It's been, in the Northwoods League, we've seen it the last 3-4 years, but on the high school level, I see them doing it all the time too. So that's just team bonding, stuff like that, building those bridges, building those relationships. And I think we know baseball is a team chemistry sport as much as any other sport out there does. So to see those guys get together, do those kind of things together, it's a long-term gain for the team, whether the wins are coming or not. Right now, we're 2 games under 500. It's not like it's a bad spot to be in, especially with a huge homestand coming up where they feed off the energy at Carson Park. But it's great to see those road trips just so they can bond and get together a little bit. So I'm
Right.
excited for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, coming up on Wednesday, first game back at Carson Park for this week. It's a big night too from a promotional standpoint because it's Cancer Survivors Night, and I think a lot of us unfortunately have had.
We've all been touched by it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and this is something you guys have been doing for the last few years, right?
Yeah, and I the interns who do a lot of our social media started sharing some of the stories of some of the survivors, and I think. Like we said, we've all been touched by it. It's a brutal disease to go through. I lost my mother-in-law to cancer. I lost my grandfather to cancer. We've all been touched by it, and it's great to be able to celebrate those who have gone through the battle and come out the other side. So I'm always excited for this night. It's a moving night to see them on the field, to see their families there celebrating with them. I can't wait for that night.
Yeah, definitely. And big thanks to Mayo Clinic Health Systems for partnering with you guys on that. And then Thursday, it's going to be our first Tailgate Thursday night. And I want to thank big shout out to Brian from the Card Collecting Club. He is going to be hanging out with me, handing out free baseball cards to all the kiddos that come by.
Yeah, that's
stop
awesome.
by too.
That's awesome.
So
I see you got a stack of 90 Donruss right next to you.
We had a couple packs, and it was like I think the best card I pulled was John Smoltz on the top there too. So, but it's still Hudson, my little guy's into card collecting. Have your boys gotten into it in the last couple of years?
They've gone through it a little bit. Yeah, they're either getting a little older now, and maybe different interest in more girls at this point. We're getting into. But it's one that's the beauty of card collecting is you can kind of come and go from the hobby as you feel it. And during COVID especially, we were really into ripping packs together, and it comes and goes. Yeah.
Yep. Who was there a favorite player you used to collect when you were a youngster? Or?
Yeah, and I still have a big Roger Clemens was my guy growing up.
Nice.
And obviously that's become a little bit more of a controversial figure as time's gone on. But so it was Roger Clemens and Ken Griffey Jr. I think every kid my age collected Ken Griffey Jr. But I picked up a pair of his Ken Griffey Jr. sneakers that the ones that I had when I was in high school. So I picked up another retro redone pair of those that I have in my closet. I just look at them. I never wear them because they're just too much my favorite. But that was my shoe. But I have a big frame of all my Roger Clemens cards, my rookie card, and all my favorite ones from that era with the Red Sox, because that was when I was really heavy into collecting, was like 87 to 93. So yeah,
that's where I've kind of gone more now towards, is like when I was a kid and those athletes. It's like now I want to get back to collecting Shaq and Penny Hardaway or something like that. But yeah, you mentioned Ken Griffey. I think so many people, that's still a hot one out there. Is Griffey Jr.
Yep, the Billy Ripken card was my favorite. So we'll leave it at that. But 89 Fleer, Billy Ripken was kind of my. That was the holy grail when we were kids.
Two of my buddies, I think they still do this. I don't know if they still do. I think every Christmas they buy each other a pack of that to try to find it.
To try and find one. That's a good one.
They still do it after all these years to do it, and they haven't found it yet. So but that's cool. So. So we got that coming up on Thursday, as we mentioned, the off day, and then Thunder Bay comes to town for the weekend. And I know on
the Battle for America,
yeah, there you go. I know on Sunday too, it's your Can Koozie giveaway day, and then coming up a week from today with lacrosse coming to town, the first time you guys are going to be going up against Loggers. You got Margaritaville night too, so perfect night with the rival coming in and Margaritaville night.
Absolutely, excited for that. Got Cutwater at the ballpark now, so that's kind of a cool addition, and we can do some of that stuff, which adds to the authenticity of it. But it's great to get lacrosse in town. We've talked about over the years that ownerships, we get along real well. There's obviously a rivalry there, but lacrosse is by far our biggest rival, and it's been fun to play them over the years.
Yeah, and I know they're off to a decent start to
very good
too, so it should be a good series going up against
always
the
a
Loggers.
tough team. It's you get used to seeing a lot of the same teams do well every year. Wausau's always good in the East. Madison's always good. St. Cloud's always good out in the West here in the Great Plains. Wilmer's off to a rocky start, but they're always a tough team too. So I'll be curious to see how tonight and tomorrow's games go.
Yeah, and just kind of looking ahead too, you got that one quick trip to Duluth, but I mean, you guys got a lot of games coming up here at Carson Park, and I know you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but do you view this as an opportunity to get on a nice little run and collect a lot of these wins?
Yeah, I'd like to, and especially as you start to play, so lacrosse is in first right now. Those are immediate games. You can only make a difference right away. You win those 2 games, all of a sudden, boom, you're 2 games back, and making up 2 games in the standings. So, looking forward to that. And I think we're poised to make a nice run here. The off day is coming at a great time. It's good for the players to get to spend a day with their host families and just kind of get used to some, good old home cooking rather than eating on the road. And so I think the timing is really good, and to have the interns have had some time off to kind of recalibrate and refill their batteries. I'm excited to see them back in action, and the game day productions continue on and get better and better.
Yeah, and I've noticed it like on social media too. Like a lot of cool interaction stuff on there too,
Yeah,
and
it's
just
fun to see that stuff come together. And the nice thing is, check out our other Northwoods League team, and we
Yeah.
just continually borrow content from each other for how to do it. So
But
great
no-
relationships that way.
yeah, absolutely. But it's active on there all the time. I mean, I saw was it like Star Wars lightsaber fights between a couple
Because
of
we
them
have
on
Star
there
Wars
too.
night coming up here.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's one I'll be out of town for, but that'll be a fun night. I'm excited for that.
Yep, that's Father's Day weekend, I believe.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And if you're looking for something to take Dad to, you got a game at the ballpark on Father's Day.
There you go.
So I know that's what I'd rather be going to the ballpark on Father's Day. So
I'll be at a ballpark. It'll just be a different. It'll be
is that when you're going out east?
No, I'll be back from there. I'm out
Okay.
east here first part of next week, so I get to go watch Dalton play against the Red Sox. So I'm excited to see
at
that.
Fenway.
Yep.
That'll be cool.
Yep.
So is there a stadium that's kind of on your bucket list that you'd like to?
Fenway's probably. I made it to Old Yankee Stadium in 2005,
Okay.
and saw the Yankees play the Orioles out there. And it was one of those games like I can't believe all the major superstars I saw in that game. It was crazy. Because Sosa was on the Orioles at that point, and Hideki Matsui. I mean, just both teams just loaded with either Hall of Famers or guys who are Hall of Fame caliber. Whether whatever how the votes fall.
Yep.
So that is great to see Old Yankee Stadium. Fenway's probably the other one that I haven't been to yet. I'd like to get to Petco at some point, and then the other one is PNC in Pittsburgh. Those are probably the main three I haven't been to that I really have a hankering to get to. But the Giants, which is now T-Mobile Park, is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
AT&T or whatever. The San Diego Giants. That's my favorite one I've been to. That's just a really cool ballpark.
I know we have a listener, Joe, and I believe he is a host family for some Express players
Nice.
too. But he said last week they were in Colorado and they were tuning in because they're doing a stadium tour for all the Brewers games. So they were in Colorado watching.
Nice. Coors is great. I was there in 2003. I was delivering a vehicle to my aunt and got to take in the game there. It's an awesome ballpark too.
It looks really cool out there too. So have you been to the Baseball Hall of Fame at all yet?
I have not. It's kind of an embarrassment to me that I haven't. So
I haven't been to the football or baseball one. That's definitely on top.
Been
of
to
my
the
list.
college football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm missing out. I have trips to take yet, so I'm not done living yet. So
Same here. I like that outlook. So tickets again. I think I always try to do this every week to remind just if you're a listener or you're listening, like I want to go to the game. What is the best way to purchase those tickets?
Yeah, the no convenience fees if you call our office or do it at the box office on game days. We are out there early selling tickets. If you do need to buy tickets online ahead of time, make sure you are at eauclairexpress.com. If you buy it from a third-party site, those are legit tickets. However, they will buy them and then mark up the price. So make sure you're going to eauclairexpress.com, get them through the Northwoods League Direct, or call our box office or come to the games.
So also swag. Got some with the apparel tent up at
Roseville Apparel Tent is up and running.
Yep.
We got some great new swag. Our hats showed up the other day, so excited about those. Getting some of the old jerseys that we have, that game worn jerseys that were at the office, getting those up there that the people want to pick up jerseys, because I start to see those more and more out and about. What people like to wear, the actual Express jerseys, so that's cool too. So great stuff to choose from up there.
Hudson hasn't quite grown into that DQ jersey that we purchased a couple years ago.
Shouldn't take too long. DQ wasn't a big guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Craig, thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck coming up for this week of games, and we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Plenty more baseball talk coming up after these quick words. Big thanks to Craig Toyson for joining us for our Monday Eau Claire Express chat. As a reminder, if you ever miss any portion of that conversation, they are available after every Monday morning show on the All Aboard the Eau Claire Express podcast, available wherever you listen to your podcasts, like Apple, Spotify, at our website even. So make sure you check it on out. Speaking of podcasts, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Man Cave podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you've missed any of our top 250 sports moments in American history, each one of those segments are available on the Man Cave podcast. And if you have missed portions of this program that you are listening to right now, that is available on the Dan Kasper Show podcast. Again, available wherever you listen to podcasts and at our website at wayyyradio.com. All right. Giannis rumors. What's the latest in terms of Giannis? It's a lot of he said, she said sort of thing. So the latest one comes from The Athletic. Sam Amick from The Athletic. He told the Dan Patrick Show that, quote, "The noise is tied to Miami, but there's also some intel, discussion, kind of understanding that Giannis has questions about what the Miami roster would look like on the other side of a deal. You don't want to gut your roster and go to a place you're excited to be in and then have a hard time contending for a championship." And this is the reality of this situation. And again, I don't know if it's Giannis pushing this or if it's mostly ownership, and we all have our own opinions and thoughts and speculations on it and such. But really, whatever team acquires Giannis, I think the question is going to be, okay, is this talent-wise a better situation for Giannis? Is this a team that is a title contender? And when you look at it from Miami, and when you look at it, from potentially who they would have to give up to get Giannis, okay, you pair him up with Bam and Andrew Wiggins. Maybe Norman Powell if they can re-sign him. Is that a roster that's good enough to go out there and win? To win a championship? Does it go up against the likes of a Boston, a Knicks, or Cleveland? Detroit? Debatable. That's the reality of it all. So, is it much different than if he were to stay with the Bucks? Again, it may not be all up to Giannis. Giannis can sit there and say that he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He wants to stay in Milwaukee. He wants to stay in Milwaukee. But if the Bucks are hell-bent on trading him and such, well, he's got to have a backup option. And if that backup option is Miami, it may not necessarily be the best option for him from a talent perspective. He may like the culture. He may like the coach. He's a good head coach with Eric Spoelstra. But maybe the other part in this, too, is how much do you trust Pat Riley. Pat Williams, thinking Orlando Magic back in the day. Pat Riley to build around Giannis. Now, Pat Riley has made some really good moves. We were talking about Red Auerbach in the 7 o'clock hour and talking about from his coaching career to executive. Pat Riley's been a fairly decent executive, too, building teams and championship caliber teams. I mean, it helps when you can recruit, LeBron and Chris Bosh, and, you already had D Wade and such. There's no doubt about it. But I think, too, that Riley knows, okay, if I somehow pull this off and we get Giannis, you got to make some other moves to surround him with better talent. I don't know what some of those moves would potentially be. I feel like it almost reminds me. It would almost remind me or like when LeBron and Bosh and Wade were there, what were a lot of moves that the Heat did? It was a lot of those veteran moves. It was, Miller. Remember Mike Miller? Was it James Jones on there too? Not the receiver, but a lot of those type of plays. But I don't know if you can do that with a Giannis. I don't know. Because of Giannis's injury history now as of late, it does throw a little bit of a wrench into the whole thing. I think, at least, in my opinion. Now, if Giannis was a free agent, this is completely different. Obviously, completely different. You could pull a KD like when Kevin signed up with the Warriors and surprise everybody on that July 4th. But it really makes things difficult if what we talked about last week with Giannis, and when he said that, I shouldn't say when he said, there was that report out there that said that the only team that he'd consider signing an extension with, if he were to be traded, was Miami. That narrows the options in terms of what trade package you could get in return. And that's a win for Miami if that is true. Because then Miami can say, hey, we're the only ones that are in this running. We are the only ones. Here's our offer, take it or leave it. They could play it. The ball would be in their court a little bit. Or the Bucks could just say, all right, no, we're gonna hold on to him. But if it were that you want to try to get something in return for Giannis and you got to trade him or you need to trade him, and legit Miami is the only one that would give him an extension because teams acquiring Giannis are going to want an extension. I can't see a lot of teams pulling what the Raptors did when they got Kawhi Leonard without the extension. They did end up winning a championship. But I feel like there's going to be the majority, if not all teams, would want that reassurance. They would want that contract extension in hand, signed when that trade's completed, agreed to. All right, let's take a quick break. We've got a couple more texts to get to, so we'll do that after we take our break. We're starting to wrap things up here. Less than a half an hour to go. So, all right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's get to a couple of texts here. Tony says, best of the weekend, seeing Bloomer bringing home the D2 Girls State Track Championship trophy. We've got Surveyor saying, I figured out the rally cap situation. Okay, hopefully Rodney's still listening. It's that Chicago area public school math. When it's a 1-to-1 game, it's not actually 1-to-1. You see, they're not equal. The opponent's one is actually greater than 1, while the Cubs' one is lesser than 1. It's the exact opposite for the Bears, though. You see, Caleb can throw multiple interceptions in a playoff game, consistently ranking the bottom third in every statistical category, and has one of the worst completion percentage in league's history, but is a top 10 quarterback. Meanwhile, Jordan Love can completely dismantle the Bears' defense, rank as a top 5 quarterback in almost every statistical category, throw for 4,000 yards, but is mid to bad. I get it now. Don't blame Chicago fans for being ignorant. They don't know any better. Blame the public education system. Oh, all right. Well, not really a grind my gears Tuesday, but that's a come at you trash talk Monday. See, I kind of wanted to do a trash talk Wednesday sort of thing like that, or trash talk day segment, but we might just have to make that like a Surveyor trash talk segment once in a while. I don't know, but got any ideas on that? I'm open. If you got like a trash talk segment name, segment idea, hit me up. I'm an open book. I'll listen to it. I'll hear it. I'm always up for some good ideas in that, so send it on over. I like it. Well done, Surveyor. Well done. Pat yourself on the back with that one. Hopefully I read that with enough sarcasm for people to understand. So, all right, again, Brewers tonight. Going to be a late one, peeps. 9:05 first pitch. We got Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Brew Crew for tonight. Will Kyle Harrison improve to, 8-1 on the season, pick up his 8th win, continue his hot streak? I think he's got a good shot. Why wouldn't he? Dude's pitching well. Heck yeah. When he's on the mound, that team should have a boatload of confidence within them. A ton of confidence. Then if we're looking a little bit ahead, Robert Gasser is slated to get the start tomorrow for the Brew Crew. And then for the series finale before Milwaukee comes back home, it is a little TBD at this point. But Brewers bullpen, a little bit banged up. We knew the Garrett Anderson injury. We knew DL Hall's on the injured list. Fitzpatrick's probably done now. We saw Craig Yoho getting some action in. But Brewers making some roster moves, acquiring bullpen help. But I kind of wonder if there's going to be some more, some potentially more moves to help bolster the health of that bullpen here for the Brewers in the near future. But maybe puts a little bit more pressure on those starters to go a little bit deeper and such. But in terms of, Scooble, I think somebody texted in. I've gotten quite a few texts. Let me see if I can find it. Jared. Jared had sent in about 30 minutes ago. So I'm just getting to this now, Jared. Apologies, because we were chatting some Express baseball. But Jared said, I don't see why the Brewers can't make a run to the World Series. Yes, we aren't good at the long ball, but we know how to base run and get the ball in play when we need to. And the pitching is the best I have ever seen it. Do you think Scooble would put us over the top? I mean, adding Scooble wouldn't hurt. The only thing that would hurt by adding Scooble is if somehow he gets hurt again. Now, I know he's coming back from an injury, but he did have a solid rehab start, his first rehab start just a month after surgery, 5 scoreless. He pitched the other day. So we could see him back in the rotation next weekend, possibly. And I think for teams potentially interested in getting Scooble, this is going to, when he does return to the major league level, I think you're going to see a lot of teams that could potentially add him, really paying attention and watching his performance and watching his outings. Because if he looks good, looks like Skubal, recovering from that injury, then all right. You may have teams that maybe are a little bit more involved in conversations. Or maybe the Tigers still view the AL Central as that they're not out of it and they want to hold on to the guy. I mean, when you look at it right now in the AL Central, Tigers, I mean, they're 27-39, 9.5 back. But maybe they view this as this is the AL Central. A lot of kind of crazy stuff can happen. And when Skubal does come back, I believe it's going up against the Guardians, who are in first place in the division right now. But so, yeah, I mean, adding Skubal it's not going to hurt him. It's going to make him better. Would it be enough to take him over the Dodgers or the Braves in the National League to get to the World Series? It improves their chances. How would it not when you have a 3-man rotation of Miz, Harrison, and Skubal, assuming they're all healthy? And then you throw in as your 4-starter like Brandon Woodruff. That's a very, 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 very formidable 4-man rotation for the postseason. And if you're the Brewers, you're the position players, you're the offensive players, and you're in your position in the field, and that's the pitcher, regardless who it is, you're probably feeling pretty confident game in, game out. Game in, game out. I don't want to speak for every Brewers fan, but I think the ideal scenario for a lot of Brewers fans would be at the trade deadline if they got a Skubal, but also a bat. We're going to be greedy in this thing. Why wouldn't we be as fans, right? I mean, that's kind of what we get to do at times. We want to be greedy. We want the impact bat, and we want another starting pitcher. When odds are they'll probably get a bullpen guy, and that's it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with adding the bullpen, especially now. But yeah, I think adding Skubal, I don't know if I'd use the word or the phrase over the top. It definitely wouldn't hurt. It definitely would not hurt. And it definitely improves their chances to get to that World Series. But the question is always going to be, do they have that power bat to make an impact in the postseason? The guy that can change the game with one swing of a bat. You need a hit. You need a power hit. It's that guy. And I think part of it, too, is the Brewers they're winning in ways that you're not supposed to in an analytical sense. You're not supposed to be winning this way. You're not supposed to be winning by old school stuff anymore. That's the basis for a lot of this, in my opinion. You're supposed to win by home runs. You're supposed to win by the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball. Well, the Brewers don't do that, but you know what? They still score a bunch of runs. And that's kind of the reason why I think a lot of people still aren't sold on the Brewers or whether this way can work. And they'll look at recent history, too, and make the case. And you know what? Facts are facts, and you can't argue with a lot. The Brewers have not gone to the World Series. They scored runs last year, but they ran into the Dodgers and couldn't score enough runs. So I say let's be greedy and maybe get a pitcher and a hitter. I don't know who that hitter would be off the top of my head. You're probably looking at it like a third base option, power guy over there, or shortstop, but probably third base. All right, let's take our final break, and then we've got picks. Crucial Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. Spurs at the Knicks. Knicks taking the first 2 games in San Antonio. Now it's going to be a raucous environment at Madison Square Garden. We all know that. How the Spurs kind of embrace that or take those few punches right away, I think is going to be a big key for them to try to get that W tonight. Will they, though? Crucial game 3 for the Spurs tonight. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up things after these few words. All right, let's wrap things up and get to some picks, shall we? Let's start off with Game 3, this crucial Game 3 for the Spurs tonight at Madison Square Garden. Everything about this game says it's the Knicks. It's the Knicks, the environment that that is going to be like off the Richter scale in terms of cheers and just how loud it's going to be. I mean, that's the expectation I have, and I think that's the expectation a lot of people have. So everything says that this should be the Knicks, but I've picked the Spurs the last 2 games, and I'm going to pick the Spurs again here. So it's probably a kiss the death for the Spurs. But come on, I don't want this to go 3-0. Make it a series, San Antonio, and get the W tonight. Come on. Win it. All right? Win it. Ugh, but I'll tell you, I don't feel great. Not that I have a horse in this race or anything, but again, everything about this speaks Knicks. All right, we only got a few Major League Baseball games to go and pick here. So let's go Seattle versus Baltimore. I'll go with the Mariners. Boston at Tampa Bay. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays. Yankees, Cleveland. I'll go with the Guardians today. Philadelphia, Toronto. Christopher Sanchez. I got to go Philadelphia. Houston versus Los Angeles Angels. Let's go Astros. Reds, Padres. Give me the Padres. Reds struggling right now. Washington versus the Giants. Logan Webb coming off that really good performance he had against the Brewers. I'll go with the Giants. And then Brewers taking on the Athletics. We got Kyle Harrison and Jeffrey Springs on the mound, the lefty Jeffrey. I'm going Kyle Harrison and the Brewers to pick up the win tonight. All right, those are your picks. Again, that game, Brewers, Athletics, 9:05 first pitch, 8:30 coverage begins right here, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coming up tomorrow, I'll give you a little bit of a homework assignment. As you know, it is Tuesday, which means it is a Toys at 4 to grind my gears a Tuesday. So, what's grinding your gears? Okay? Think about that. Get it off your chest for tomorrow. Also, it is I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Fill in the blanks. Okay? Fill it on in. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. Best ones we'll read up on the air tomorrow. Hopefully, we're talking about a Game 1 win for the Brew Crew tomorrow, and then we'll get set for Game 2 with Robert Gasser getting the start for the Brewers. So we'll, again, hopefully be recapping a W and looking ahead to a potential series win and potential another series win for the Brewers coming your way tomorrow. So that's all coming up on the dockets. And, of course, whatever else happens to transpire in the next 21 to 24 hours, 20 to 24 hours or whatever it may be. So we'll hit that all up and then that. So a couple more best and worst from the weekend. Best from Jim, having some luck, free fishing weekend. Worst, getting outfished by my kid. Hey, let the kids have some fun, though, right? Got to let the kiddos have some fun out there for sure, man, for sure. And then we got another one that says best of the weekend was Bryce Terang. Worst of the weekend was not being able. Okay, well, here's another fishing one. Worst of the weekend, not being able to get out on the water and do some fishing. Stupid yard work. I hear you. Again, we'll do some local sports roundup. Brought to you by Carpet City Floyd Center with our good friend Brandon at the end of the week here. I know Brandon was at State Track and Field, so congrats to all of our local athletes, teams that participated at State Track and Field, had success at State Track and Field. Big tip of the cap to you all. I know we got state golf teeing off today, so best of luck to any of our local golfers and teams who are down in Madison for state golf. Baseball-wise, tomorrow is going to be a big day for prep baseball. I know we've got some teams in action in our immediate listening area. That includes like Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran is going to be in action tomorrow for Division 4. They're going to be taking on Loyal. You've got Shell Lake. That's also going to be in action. Oliva Strum is also in there too. They're going to be taking on Cochrane Fountain City. Division, just kind of going through the brackets again here, just kind of perusing it here quick. Got St. Croix Falls. You've got Fall Creek and Elk Mound. All going to be, that should be a fun one tomorrow too. So Baraboo's going to be taking on Edgewood. But yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. Baldwin Woodville is going to be in action tomorrow too, taking on Somerset. So should be some good baseball games coming our way. Hudson versus River Falls too. So heck yeah. Menominee still alive. They took down Chippewa. They're going to be taking on Stevens Point. So those are going to be all in action tomorrow. But have a good rest of your day. Shot clock's going to cut me off. Same place, same time tomorrow, 6 a.m. from the TDS Sports Talk Studios. Watch out for the weather today, too, if you have any sports in action like Little League and that. But we'll do this again tomorrow morning. See you then.